It's Atlanta. Over 49 years, we've seen champions crowned here.
There's the checkered flag for Allen. He's the champion for 92.
Some of racing's most memorable moments have happened at this finish line.
Carved by inches.
Tonight, a new chapter in this track's long history begins.
It's summer night.
Sprint Cup drivers take the track for the first time under the lights in Atlanta. ESPN welcomes you to NASCAR Countdown, presented by Degree V12. Tonight, the tradition of Labor Day weekend racing returns to the South at a place that drivers love to race. And for some drivers, a critical race it is. With the chase for the Sprint Cup in just 2 more weeks, there are 9 drivers fighting for the final 6 spots in NASCAR's race-off. A winner top 5 tonight could seal the deal for some, while a crash could be more costly than some can afford. Qualifying happened here yesterday. Martin Truex Jr. won the pole, a 184-mile-per-hour average around this track. He'll lead the field to the green flag shortly. Truex just a shade quicker than Casey Kane, one of the drivers on the bubble for making the championship. But for the Washington native, a great front row starting spot for a crucial event at a track he calls his favorite, Dave Burns.
Well, and having won here before, you can imagine why Casey Kane would be glad about Atlanta. But Casey, there's a lot going on, and you need to make the chase. So how are you keeping focus with everything swirling around you?
Just bringing a good car. The team did an awesome job. Everybody at Richard Petty Motorsports brought a great car. It's fast and starting up front, so hopefully we can keep the track position. But the team did great yesterday. Budweiser Dodge was quick, and hopefully we can make the right adjustments tonight and get in on and off pit road clean. Have a good shot.
He mentioned the front row starting spot. Vince Welch, that's a great start already.
That's right, indeed, and Greg Biffle's got a little more work to do. He'll start 26th, comes into this race 8th in points, but how delicate a balance is it between finding a car that'll work here in Atlanta and having one that's way off?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. The window's very small, and you know, we just didn't get quite the balance I was looking for. I screwed up qualifying a little bit, or I felt like we'd be about 15th or so, or 12th. But, you know, we just want to stay on the lead lap, run up in the top 15, top 10. You know, this is a good racetrack for us. We're capable of it. Just got to get that balance right. Just got to find a groove the car works in. Last night, I couldn't run up next to the fence. I had to stay on the bottom. I was pretty happy with the Cup car up top. We'll have to wait and see.
Greg Biffle, he's got a little bit of a cushion, Alan. He's 75 points ahead of 13th place.
All right, Vince, thoughts of the highest and lowest qualified of the Chase bubble drivers there. And as you look at the standings, a reminder that the top 12 make the chase for the Sprint Cup. 7th place Ryan Newman starts tonight, only 84 points ahead of 13th, while 15th place Clint Boyer only a $112 behind the cut line. 9 drivers for 6 places and just 2 races to go. Our ESPN pit studio is ready to follow all the points, positions, and possibilities of the night. Well, there we are, down there. Welcome inside. Alan Bestook with 2-time Atlanta race winner Rusty Wallace, Big Brad Daugherty, and Ray Evernham. This is a big night for a lot of reasons.
Oh, man, this is a really big night for everybody. A lot of pressure on these guys. I mean, there's some nervous drivers out there, and they know one thing. They cannot screw up the night. If they do, they won't have a second chance going into Richmond to make it in that top 12. So, guys, big night for these dudes.
Yeah, we understand the chase implications, but also, what about the first time racing at night here? What are the crew chiefs thinking? What are the drivers thinking? What kind of changes are you going to have to make, particularly in that first hour, to be able to survive and run up front tonight?
And chase, understand all that, but what about the guys that aren't in the chase, the guys that can't make it? The best way to take the thunder away from the chase drivers is to win the race.
Let's talk about the value of making the chase, Ray, to the drivers and their teams. Can you put it into words?
Well, it's like real estate. You know, your real estate has value, and the more people want it, the more valuable it is. Because the chase creates so many more media impressions around your race car, it drives the value of that sponsorship up. And with only a few sponsors out there, being in that chase is pretty important.
So sell high is a good thing for team owners in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. All right, so who's feeling the pressure tonight?
Oh, in my mind, the guy that's feeling all the pressure is Matt Kenseth. This guy's got to be really nervous. He's 12th in the points. He's only 34 points to the good. Brad, this guy's really got to be freaking out right now.
Yeah, for me, it's got to be Kyle Busch. I mean, think about what this young man's accomplished in the last 2 years in this sport. He's won in every discipline, and without him being in the chase, it just doesn't even seem right. But over the last 6 races, he's averaged about a 17th. He's 17th in points, I would say. So it's got to be a tough road for he and Steve Addington.
And guys, what about the last 6 races? What about Brian Vickers? Brian Vickers has scored more points than anybody else in the last 6 races. The pressure's on him. All he's got to do is do what he's been doing the last 6 races for these next 2, and he's going to the chase.
But a bad night tonight
could put him out.
Could be a lot of trouble. Now, a driver who's already made the chase is Tony Stewart, looking for a win and added bonus points for that championship reseeding. He's with Jamie Little.
And he's standing here talking to Diamond Rio, the band here, everybody enjoying a little bit of music. So Tony, he doesn't have as much pressure now that he is locked in, but are you telling him to do something? Tony, how do you balance tonight, trying to race tonight, and you're also thinking about your big event Wednesday night? How are you doing all that?
Well, we're excited about Wednesday night, the prelude to the dream. You know, all the guys are coming back, and that's something we're really proud of, and being able to support our injured and fallen soldiers is something that we're excited about. So Wednesday night on HBO pay-per-view, we're getting ready for that, but we got a long 500 miles here tonight too, so proud. We got our buddies from Diamond Rio here, and Darian and all the guys on the Office Depot Old Spice team have done a great job, so just ready for a good night.
A lot on your plate, and this weekend you've been creating this buzz. Of course, we always talk about Danica Patrick and is she going to come to NASCAR, but last night there was a story that said you guys could be the front runner to give her her first opportunity in a stock car. What is your take?
We're actually working on a 2-car deal. We're actually going to put Danica and you in a car, so we're going to have the female 2-car team here. But no, I mean, Danica came to Charlotte again last week, and you know, it's definitely something that she's interested in for sure. And you know, I know her from the little bit of time that we spent together with you know, coexisting personal service deals. So I've made the jump from the IndyCar division to stock cars, and you know, she's kind of leaned on me for some information and advice. So we hope it works out for her. I know it's something that she's really interested in, and it's just a matter of if the right opportunity comes for her, I think.
Well, he said there's no question of whether or not she's going to be in NASCAR. It's just a matter of when. And Tony Stewart, 2-time winner here, Alan.
All right, Jamie, thanks. Jamie, following up on Tony's Friday comments about Danica Patrick possibly coming to NASCAR. With the huge percentage of this sports audience that is female, Patrick moving to stock car racing would be something followed with great interest, especially if she's able to find the way to victory lane, as she did in that IndyCar race last season. Rusty and Ray, you both met with Danica on her tour of various NASCAR team shops and facilities in the Charlotte area. Can you add anything else as far as adding anything to what's been reported on this story?
Well, Ray and I sat down and had dinner with her. We were asked to do that. We talked to Danica and had a good conversation with her. And basically, she was on a fact-finding mission of what's NASCAR all about? Am I doing the right thing? I really want to do it, stuff like that. I just personally told her, so look, Dana, there was a lot of people saying you can't do it. And I hated it when people told me I couldn't do something. So my best advice to you, go try it. Get in there. Try to get with a good team. Do something. If you don't like it, you don't do it. But go for it. But let me tell you one thing. If you do it, get ready for the toughest thing you ever had happen to you in your entire life. It's going to be very, very tough. I also told her it's going to take you 3 solid years to get a footing, to really understand the sport, understand the way the cars feel, understand how to fix them, things like that. So when you do that, you're going to have a sponsor. She needs a sponsor that's going to stick through with her through thick and thin for 3 solid years. And Ray, it was a great conversation we had with her that night, and I think she understood all that.
Really is. Talented, determined girl, got the right attitude. I'm sure driving-wise she can handle it. The things that we talked about were this would be the most difficult challenge of her motorsports career. This NASCAR is the most difficult and competitive form of motorsports in the world, bar none. And the thing that she has to be aware of is to make sure that she is surrounded by sponsors who will stick with her, but the people who will support her while she's learning. It would be great for our sport, and I think that she can make it.
All right, a story that we'll follow with interest in the coming weeks and months. Now we turn our attention back to this race. The first time the Sprint Cup Series is going to run 500 miles under the lights at this track. Some races, rain delayed, have been finished under the lights. This one's going to start and end in the dusk and the evening conditions. What's going to be different for the drivers, teams, and crews?
Oh, big time change in track conditions. The track's going to start out loose, tight. It's going to move all over the place. These guys are going to be changing everything under the sun to try to get the cars figured out under these changing track conditions. You'll see air pressures, you'll see wedge, You'll see all kind of stuff going on, Brad. It's going to be a big night for that stuff.
Yeah, I was talking to Alan Gustafson, Mark Martin's crew chief, and that's what he was saying. He said the big thing is this race will start, obviously, here in a little bit, and it'll be somewhat dark, and the track will still be very warm, so you're going to have a loose condition. And as it cools off, almost like a hyper grip will come into the racetrack, so it's going to be very hard to adjust for that. It's going to eat up some tires. You'll see them lose as much as 3 seconds over a run. It's going to be great.
But
right?
it's going to eat up right sides, right? You know, what are they going to do? More right side damage. Just a big Darlington now. They'll be in that, what they say, DJ said last night, controlled slide. I don't know what that is, but you'll see some right side damage tonight.
Hyper grip?
Hyper grip, man.
We've coined yet another new term here in our ESPN pit studio. All right, coming up next on NASCAR Countdown, the story of that young woman, 13-year-old Jodie Lawrence, a young cancer victim who has designed the look on the car of one of the contending drivers tonight, Carl Edwards. Her story and her meeting with Carl is next.
You can climb in there if you want. She walks up to me like a ball of fire. It reminds me that, you know, there's no reason for me to walk around and hang my head at any point. She's going through more than any of us could imagine, and she's got great spirits.
NASCAR Countdown, presented by New Degree Men B12 Special Edition.
Carl Edwards is a 3-time winner at this Atlanta track, but he arrived here this weekend on crutches after breaking his right foot while playing Frisbee with friends on Wednesday. It'll certainly be a difficult 500 miles for Carl. But Edwards says his injury's really nothing compared to what those he visited with on Friday are dealing with. Patients at the Aflac Cancer Center, including a very remarkable 13-year-old girl who designed the look of the 99 car for this race. Chris Connolly has the story.
Suddenly, he was in the air.
The 8th grader watching video of Carl Edwards' racetrack highs and lows is getting a crash course in what life's like for this NASCAR driver.
I thought it was crazy that he was driving still after all that.
Carl Edwards will win it. Man, oh man.
I guess it's supposed to be his signature move after each race.
Now NASCAR fans are getting to see what Jodie Lawrence can do, because today, Carl Edwards is driving a 99 car designed by Jodie. Based on this entry, she hand-colored and submitted to a Color Carl's Car contest at the Aflac Cancer Center in Atlanta.
When you looked at it, what did you think?
I thought it was a winner.
She was right. Since then, Jodie's 99 car has been wrapped.
I'm excited to go and see it, and now I can brag about it, and hopefully Carl Edwards will win in it.
This 13-year-old from Greensboro, Georgia, knows all about winning. Jodie's a 2-time spelling bee champ and basketball standout, who's now in her 3rd year of a personal fight with cancer.
What was it in your life that helped make you so strong?
All the things I went through. My mama and daddy died, and I guess that has made me stronger.
An infant when her father died, Jodie and her sisters were raised by their mother. When doctors diagnosed an 11-year-old Jodie with a cancerous tumor on her adrenal gland, her mother was critically ill on a different floor of the same hospital, battling complications from a stroke.
Jodie had cancer. The cancer was removed, and we came back home to concentrate on our mama.
2 months later, their mother's death left Jodie in the care of her older sister, Levita. But for this family, life's agonies were not over. Earlier this year, Jodie told Levita she was feeling pain in her back.
I cried that whole night. I cried that whole night. I just felt this is where it is, that the cancer was back. And this time, it was everywhere. And meaning everywhere on her brain, in her bone marrow, different places on her ribs.
What's that like to hear?
Devastating. Devastating in the sense of I can't fix it.
New therapies to treat Jodie's cancer are now underway. Jodie may be in a battle for her life, but she's in no mood to slow down.
Been through too much to be weak now. I hope that whatever doesn't kill me is gonna make me stronger.
Do you ever ask yourself why all this has to happen to you?
Plenty of times. And I ask God to, but I guess if all this stuff happening to me now, I'll have less to deal with when I'm older.
On this day at the center, Jodie's all smiles as she gets to check out her car up close and enjoys a warm greeting from Carl Edwards.
You want to sit in it? You can climb in there if you want. In my mind, I think, well, it's going to be this, this girl, and she's going to be kind of down and out. And here she walks up to me like a ball of fire. It reminds me that, there's no reason for me to walk around and hang my head at any point. She's going through more than any of us could imagine, and she's got great spirits.
Jodie will be watching as Carl Edwards goes for the checkered flag in a car designed by a teenager who's after a big win of her own.
And right now, Jodie gets to ride with me and Carl Edwards around the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Jodie, did you expect that you were going to get to ride around the Speedway too?
No, I just...
What do you think?
I like it.
We may stay out here all night. Carl, can you imagine a better week to be motivated by this little girl than with your foot injury?
No, it's amazing. Jodie and all the kids at the Aflac Cancer Center, they're inspiring, and it's an honor to be driving that race car and to have all of them on my helmet, and hopefully we can have a good run for them. That would mean the world.
And what all is your company doing this week to support the Cancer Center?
Well, we've been doing a lot, and Aflac has raised a lot of money, and the Aflac Cancer Center is one of the best causes in the world. I've personally seen it. People can text "Go Carl" to 90999, and $5 will be put on their phone bill, and I'm guaranteeing that'd be the best $5 you spent. So it's "Go Carl" to 90999. I can't thank Aflac enough. It's cool to be a part of it.
And you can see just how excited Jodie is. Guys, she has been videotaping this whole thing all the way around the track, just taking it all in.
David, thank you. Perspective is everything, and certainly racing with a broken foot is minor compared to what Jodie Lawrence is going through. But to talk about the race tonight, Carl Edwards is about to race at 200 miles an hour with a broken right foot. What's that going to be like for him tonight?
Alan, I really do think it's going to affect Carl just a little bit. Maybe not a whole lot, but I do think it's going to affect him tonight. But I'll tell you one thing. If he's leading that race, he will be thinking about that little girl tonight, and that foot, he won't even feel it.
Yeah, you're right, Rusty. I had a third metatarsal break in college and tried to play basketball on it. It's very, very painful. I can only imagine trying to drive the race car with the vibration. But I do believe Carl, being one of the most physically fit guys in this entire garage area, I think mentally he is also very tough because of his strict conditioning efforts. I think he'll be able to overcome the pain. I don't think it'll be an issue.
Well, I hope you're right. But in this sport, unlike other sports, no timeouts, can't get to the bench, can't ice that thing, can't do anything, can't take a break. He's going to be in that car with pressure on it. So much on throttle time here for the next 4 hours. But, God, it would be great to see that little girl do that backflip for Carl.
Oh, man, that'd be awesome.
Sure would. Carl Edwards starts 14th. He's 5th in points. He could lock in his place in the chase tonight. For many reasons, it would be a very special thing if Carl Edwards were to drive Jodie Lawrence's car into victory lane. It's NASCAR Countdown from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. We're coming back with more in a minute. It's an ESPN college football doubleheader on Labor Day. First at 4 Eastern, a battle of Big East rivals. The Cincinnati Bearcats take on the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Then at 8 Eastern, we feature a Sunshine State rivalry. The Miami Hurricanes take on Bobby Bowden's Florida State Seminoles in the ACC. College football presented by Cars.com and College Football Primetime on ESPN tomorrow. For more, log on to ESPN.com. This Labor Day weekend is a huge sports weekend in Atlanta. The Braves had a big series against the Reds at Turner Field, trying to keep some wild card hopes alive. College football, the big Alabama-Virginia Tech game at the Georgia Dome downtown last night. Bama the winner there. And just south of town, this Atlanta Motor Speedway and the primetime NASCAR races last night and tonight. Big Hokie fan Denny Hamlin was among the drivers taking in the Virginia Tech-Bama game. Actually, he was watching our Nationwide Series race, which was broadcast on the stadium screens before kickoff. Denny's Hokies came out on the wrong end of the score last night. Bama winning 34-24. Denny's hoping he can get a win here tonight. Hamlin, one of the drivers who could clinch a place in the chase tonight, along with Carl Edwards and Kurt Busch. Bottom line, if a driver is 162 points ahead of 13th place after tonight, he'll only need to start at Richmond next week to lock in. And conversely, if a driver's more than 162 behind 12th place, he would be eliminated tonight. Talk about a big issue for tonight's race. Tires, speed fall off, and pit strategy. And a look back at the last couple of races here, Brad, particularly last October's race here, tells us what it's all about.
Yeah, you're exactly right. We see Jimmy Johnson come in with 11 laps to go. All right, he comes in. He actually comes in 11th, and with 8 laps to go, gets fresh tires. He goes back out. He finishes second because grip is everything at this racetrack.
It's going to be a big deal.
Yeah, it is. And largely at Atlanta, the corners, so much time in the corner. Corners high speed, those tires are really important, really doing a lot of work. Pitted here with 9 laps to go with Jeff Gordon, 1998, restarted 7th, won the race.
So you guys are trying to tell me no matter what happens, 4 tires.
4 tires, baby.
4 tires. No 2 tire stuff, none of that stuff. Give me 4, let's go.
There you go.
Okay,
Let's go back to the grid and hear from the most recent race winner in the Sprint Cup Series, Kyle Busch, 13th in points, looking for another big night here, Shannon.
Alan, chasing the chase right now, Kyle Busch, you said this week that this team really hasn't been where it needs to be. But coming off the win at Bristol and a top 5 qualifying effort, are you guys inching closer to where you need to be, not only for these next 2 races, but for the chase?
Well, we're trying. You know, we're trying to make the most out of tonight, and then of course next week too. But it's not going to be these next 2 races that what puts us in the chase. It's the rest of the year that's kept us out of it. So, you know, we just got to keep going with what we know how we're doing. And you know, last week was a good boost for us to get ourselves closer to the chase. And here tonight, if we can stay within 34 points or maybe gain a couple, I don't think we'll make it if we fall much further back than that. So we'll have to see how it goes.
34 points, a magic number, and 5th is the magic number for his qualifying effort. Alan?
All right, Shannon, thanks. Something else to watch for tonight. Drivers rubbing some of the paint off the right sides of their cars by running so high they slip into that outside wall like Kurt Busch in the 2-car did on the way to winning here, by the way, in the spring. It's not a huge problem because of a safety device built into these cars. To explain, we bring in Tim Brewer in our Craftsman Tech Garage. Tim?
When NASCAR implemented the new COT car 2 years ago, they wanted to carry it one step further. The car was built for safety. The soft walls on the outside of the racetrack, they were there to absorb the energy. So the step further, they actually put the foam on the sides of the cars. What that does, it absorbs more of the energy during impact. But what we've also found out since then is when the car hits the wall, it basically has the foam right beneath the sheet metal. It keeps this configuration of the body all the same. So when you literally pancake the side of the car into the wall, you don't have to worry about the fenders getting really on the tires and the quarter pounds getting in because this whole area is protected by foam. Making it safer also made these cars a lot tougher.
All right, Brew, thank you much. And now we turn to our J-Ski news and notes to catch you up on some driver shuffling this week. Yates Racing's putting Eric Darnell in the 96 car for 7 races they didn't have sponsorship for in their deal with Hall of Fame Racing. So that displaced Bobby Labonte, but not for long. The former champ's now going to run the TRG Racing 71 car for those 7 races. He starts 25th tonight. And that displaced David Gilliland. But when Bill Elliott cracked some ribs in a dirt bike accident, the Wood brothers put Gilliland in the 21 car for this race. He qualified 17th. Brad, I hope you took notes. There's a quiz coming up in a little while.
Who's on first?
All right, so getting ready to go. 2 races to go until the cutoff for the chase. Big night for Mark Martin.
Mark Martin, now I talked to Alan Gustafson. They're feeling the pressure, but they are up for the challenge, and these guys have 4 wins. They're going to try to get 5.
I know Biffle there, he can't screw up, man. He needs a good run tonight. He knows it, too. He talked about it.
Greg starting 26th, and then there's Carl Edwards.
Man, if he can get it done tonight, we're going to get to see that special little girl do a backflip.
Man, I'd love to see that. But I'll tell you guys, it's going to be a slick racetrack, breezy racetrack. I smell a Tony Stewart.
Hey, we haven't talked about fuel mileage. We almost turned this thing into a fuel mileage race last night, almost.
Sunset approaches, as does the green flag for some high-speed racing under the lights in Atlanta. This is NASCAR Countdown, presented by Degree V12.
NASCAR Countdown, presented by New Degree Men V12 Special Edition.
Atlanta's one of the more fun tracks that we probably race at. You can run from the bottom to the very top.
As you drive down into turn 1, you have to decide, are you going to go all the way to the bottom? Or are you going to, try to run the very top up by the fence or something in between?
I really enjoy just hanging it out.
I think the lights at Atlanta are going to be cool. You know, that track cools off so much. It's going to change the outcome of that race.
You go off in turn 1 and you go through the bumps and you feel the car spark. I mean, that's going to be unbelievable for the fan.
You really have to step up your game when the sun goes down.
Well, when the sun goes down, the speeds go up, and so it is as the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series gets set to run 500 miles under the lights at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Our ESPN coverage presented by Pennzoil. Weather forecast for tonight, mostly cloudy, but no rain forecast. You never can tell these days, but we're hoping for a dry and quick 500 miles in Atlanta. Time to go trackside for the ceremony.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats as the 3rd Heavy Brigade Combat Team from the 3rd Infantry Division from Fort Benning, Georgia, present our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Dr. James Dobson, founder and chairman emeritus of the worldwide Christian ministry focused on the family, offers tonight's invocation.
Heavenly Father, we pray and ask for a special blessing on this entire event tonight. I pray specifically for the drivers and the crew and for the families that are represented here. And Lord, we would not forget to pray for the armed forces and the people who have sacrificed so generously of their lives to protect this country. We put all of that in your hands and thank you for, in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Grammy nominee and country music legends Diamond Rio as they perform our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave? Let's hear it for
Mark Martin trying to arrange the group photo there. All right, we'll take the picture too.
That's great.
So time for Mark to get buckled in and the other drivers and get ready to go for 500 miles tonight here at this Atlanta Motor Speedway. By way of review, Carl Edwards, 5th in points, races tonight with a broken right foot. For more on what he's done to try and compensate and create comfort inside that car, here's Shannon Spake.
Well, Alan, after running 300 miles in last night's nationwide race, Carl Edwards says he has no additional pain in that foot. The team does have Travis Quapple on standby in case there has to be a driver change. Now, according to the team, the only change they've made inside the car is they've adjusted the throttle return. As far as Edwards inside the car, he says the only change he has to make as a driver is he has to adjust how hard he presses on the pedal. And don't think for a second, Alan, that all he's thinking about is that foot. He said the only time he really thinks about it is when it's under caution and he has a little more time on his hands. Alan?
And we'll hope we don't have too many of those cautions tonight. The engines fire in Atlanta next.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Atlanta Motor Speedway is presented by Pennzoil Platinum Full Synthetic, our ultimate clean, your ultimate feeling. And in part by AT&T, your world delivered. New Degree Men V12 Special Edition. And the Ford F-150. It's not just a pickup, it's a Ford F-150.
A beautiful sight, this Atlanta Motor Speedway lit up for night racing, 500 miles ahead for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Our coverage presented by Pennzoil. Before the engines fire, some more stories from pit road, beginning with Vince Welch.
Well, Alan, Matt Kenseth is on the chase bubble. He's just 34 points ahead of 13th place. Is there pressure tonight? You better believe it. This team desperately wants to make the chase, as they all do, but what they cannot control is the variables of 42 other cars. The team's philosophy on the 17, prepare the best car you can and let your driver do his thing. And what better driver to turn it over to than a past champion? Dave?
13th is Kyle Busch, and right here at Atlanta, he broke a 147 race winless streak back in March of 2008. It wasn't his winless streak, it was a winless streak for the 18 team. And this team is important to Kyle. He needs their help to get these points. He's been a great motivator lately, and they are more behind him than they've ever been. Jamie?
Of all the bubble drivers, Brian Vickers is the only one who has not made a chase. His chances right now looking good. Why? The last 6 races, he scored more points than anybody else. He finished 5th here in the spring, and that was better than the other bubble boys. Doc?
All right, we'll keep an eye on those drivers as they pursue a place in the chase tonight through 500 miles at this track, one of NASCAR's fastest, the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Time to go trackside for the command to start engines.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, please welcome back Brian Zuckerman, Senior Vice President, General Counsel, and Secretary for Pep Boys, as he delivers the most famous words in motorsports.
On behalf of Pep Boys, Manny, Mo, and Jack, who want to be every NASCAR fan's personal pit crew, I'm here to say, gentlemen, start your engines!
Slow down, so make up with other new tires and all that kind of stuff, so behind the game, please. Bad pre-course from Cali. Get up behind.
Yeah, a little close there.
Okay, copy that. Yep, got you good up here. Fire when ready.
With enthusiasm. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. All right, speaking of enthusiasm, for all of the rim riding, strategizing, and chase tallying over 500 miles in Atlanta, let's go up to the booth. Dr. Jerry Punch, Dale Jarrett, and Andy Petrie. Gentlemen, it's all yours.
Thank you very much, Alan, and hello, everyone. Glad to have you with us here at Atlanta Motor Speedway for night racing for the very first time. You know, folks, counting tonight, just 2 races remain until NASCAR's version of the playoffs begin, what we call the chase for the Sprint Cup. And as you heard a moment ago, it is nail-biting time for a lot of drivers. There are 8 drivers separated by just 89 points between 7th and 14th in the standings. And guys, you've lived this pressure cooker before. What's the mindset and strategy like for these guys tonight?
Well, as much as they want to pass it off, there is added pressure here tonight. There's always pressure in these races, but these guys trying to make their way into the chase. There are only 2 opportunities left. What they can't do is make any mistakes. These drivers and teams have to be on top of their game. No mistakes anywhere on the racetrack. They can't make any mistakes getting on pit road, speeding there, or getting into their pit box. They have to do everything correctly these next 2 weeks.
And we've had so many cars this year that are still right in that bubble spot and have a chance to get in, and some that have a chance to fall out. And you don't want to be the guy, as a crew member, you don't want to be the guy that makes a mistake that takes your car out of it, especially this close to the end of it. There is a lot of tension down there. The guys are very nervous about this race. They want to get this one and the next one next week behind them and get in that thing.
You know, there are still people who question whether race drivers are actually athletes, but consider this, folks. Tonight, Carl Edwards is going to try to compete for 500 miles with 2 broken bones in his right foot. Now, guys, I got to ask you, what concerns or issues could he have?
Well, it's 500 miles. It's almost 4 hours of racing tonight, and Carl having to work the throttle here. This is a racetrack that once the tires get worn, it gets very slick. You have to really work the throttle. He's having to lift his foot on and off, not being able to pivot his foot. That's a big concern. You know, he's in great shape, but it could create a problem for him later on in this race.
And the other thing is that these cars, to run fast with this car, you have got to run it out on the edge, and way out there, you got to really pedal it. You got to be steering it. It's going to be hard for Carl Edwards to do that and to make his car run as fast as he needs to. I think that they're going to have to set this car up a little conservative and have it where he can drive it a little more comfortable. Now, that's going to knock a little speed out. I think he's actually going to have some problems tonight being as competitive as they really need to be.
In case you haven't heard, medically what Carl has is called a Liz Frank fracture. He has fractures of the 2nd and 4th metatarsal of his foot. In an NFL player, it would end his season right away. He wouldn't finish the rest of the year. But Carl is going to try to drive tonight and finish the 2009 season, but it may be very, very difficult. Well, why don't we talk to Carl, our in-race reporter, the driver of the Aflac Cancer Center Ford, who starts back in 14th spot tonight.
Hey, Carl, Dale Jarrett, the ESPN. You have a copy?
I got you, Dale.
Hey, Carl, I'm going right to our mailbag, and our question is, have you made any changes to your car because of your broken foot? And it's a two-part question. Is it easier to compensate for the injury at Atlanta than tracks like Bristol or a road course like Montreal? And believe this or not, Carl, it comes from Mark in Columbia, Missouri. Now, this isn't your buddy that broke your foot, right?
No, he might have changed his name, though. You never know. You know, that's a good question. We haven't really changed much. We lightened up the throttle springs a little bit, but my foot's feeling really well, really good. It worked well last night, and I thought it'd be better here at Atlanta, but it turns out with this tire and how tough it is to drive here, I'm working the throttle quite a bit, so I think this will be a good test for it.
Carl, did you learn anything last night in that nationwide race, since it was the first time at night, that made you make any changes to your car from practice yesterday?
You know, I didn't learn anything that made me make changes. What I learned was that the track still gets really slippery. You know, the track's still really, really tough to drive after a few laps, so not as big of a difference as I thought there'd be.
You talked about the new tire that Goodyear brought here. Did that make you make changes to your car from what you had in the spring when you had a really good car?
Yeah, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit better. You know, I think it's going to have a little bit more grip than the other tire, but you know, this track is just tough. That's what makes it so much fun. So really, I think that in the end, you know, that there might be more cars that can run a little bit faster because this tire is the way it is. It's got a little more grip, but it's still going to be a pretty tough race.
All right, Carl, thanks a lot for talking with us. Have a great night. Now, Andy's going to talk to your crew chief, Bob Osborne.
Hey, Bob Osborne, Andy Petrie in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, Andy, I got you. How you doing?
Hey, pretty good, Bob. With this car and this track being an unknown, racing at night, what kind of changes are you prepared to make to this car as this race goes on?
Well, changes, I guess, are an understatement. We've got everything but the kitchen sink in it to be able to make changes tonight because we don't have any, you know, any experience racing here at night. So we're prepared, hopefully, for whatever happens.
Okay, Bob. Well, good luck tonight, and hope Carl can race through this broken foot and bring you guys home a good finish tonight. Thanks for talking to us.
Appreciate it, Andy. Thank you. I'm sure Carl will do a great job.
In addition to Carl, we'll take you inside the action tonight with onboard cameras and 7 other cars. Kurt Busch, who dominated and won the spring race here in the same car, will be riding along with him. How about Bubble Boy, Kyle Busch, who won here a year ago? He's only had 2 top 10 finishes in 10 starts. Last night's nationwide winner, Kevin Harvick, will ride with him. Juan Pablo Montoya. Good news is he got his very first top 10 in Sprint Cup competition here back in '07. Bad news is that's the only one he's ever had at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. coming off back-to-back top 10 finishes. Could Dale Jr. maybe get his mojo back and get to victory lane here tonight? Take a look at our starting grid. The ticker across the top of your screen. Martin Truex Jr. picked up his 2nd pole of the year and 3rd of his career, qualifying at just over 184 miles an hour. It is an all Hendrick 2nd row with Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon, and the Busch brothers, Kyle and Kurt, share row number 3. Here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, pit road can pose more than the usual challenges. For more, here's Shannon Spade.
Well, one of those challenges tonight, Doc, is the fact that we're racing under the lights in the dark for the first time here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Last night in the nationwide race, Joey Logano told his crew chief that pit road was darker than it has been at any other night race that he's experienced. So knowing that, teams have taken some extra precautions. They've put a little bit of extra reflective tape on their pit signs to help their drivers. They also have crew chiefs who are going to be very careful about counting their drivers into their pit stalls. It's all an extra effort because this is the first time here at Atlanta under the lights. Dave?
And Shannon, when I polled the crew members about pit lane earlier today, they said this isn't the darkest pit road they've ever worked on, but it's also not the best in terms of visibility. Our over-the-wall reporter tonight is Mark Hollywood Armstrong. And Hollywood, what kinds of things do you do to get ready for night racing versus day racing?
Well, Dave, as bad as I hate to do it, you have to take off the sunglasses, put on the night glasses. One of the other most important tools I have tonight is a light mounted on my helmet. It not only helps me, but it also helps my tire carrier, Matt, be able to see this hub and index the tire. But right now, you really don't get a full effect of what it does because of the daylight still here. But fans, you can bet. We're in hot Atlanta, and later on tonight, we're going to light it up on pit road. So sit back and relax, and let's have a ball.
I think Mark is fired up a little bit here, ready to go on pit road, guys.
Yeah, they don't call him Hollywood for nothing. He knows how to get it done on pit road, too. He's a great tire changer.
Yeah, he does. That was good stuff from him, too. A lot of things that you kind of take for granted that change whenever you have a night race.
And it's amazing here, the last 2 races we have run at Atlanta, the pit road has been the critical determinant of who won the race. Here's the 98 car, Paul Menard in before the green flag.
Fuel now. Y'all help him with the hood pins.
Going under the hood of the car. If they have a miss or something wrong, Paul just sent something with the car here.
Paul making his 100th career start here in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Still looking for that first win in the big series. Has won in the NASCAR Nationwide car.
Pat's coming off a turn 2 right now as these guys put the hood back down.
Cody Glick, all the bar hooked up, all that right here where you stand on pit wall is where I'm at. All right, let's go ahead and go, guys. Let it go. Let it go.
So he will hustle down and try to catch up to the field down the back straightaway. Well, folks, stock car racing in the South had been a Labor Day weekend tradition for over 50 years at the famed Darlington Raceway. And a few years ago, it went away. But tonight, it is back at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and so are the fans. Over 100,000 fans are here, and we are glad to have you with us here with IR Live flag-to-flag coverage. 2 races to go. Who gets in the chase and who wins the race tonight? We're going to settle it 500 miles from now. Up front on the front row, Martin Truex Jr. trying to get his first win in over a year. Side by side, Casey Kane has had miserable luck here in the fall race. Who will it be as they come down to the green flag and we turn them loose at Atlanta Motor Speedway? Kurt Busch up very high on the outside in the same car he dominated with back in March. But it is Martin Truex Jr. coming out of turn 4 who should be able to hold on and lead lap number 1.
Kurt Busch looked like he was shot out of a cannon off of turn 2 up on the high side right off the bat. Big run on the outside of Jimmy Johnson right here.
Yeah, we'll see that high line work quite a bit tonight, especially as these guys get a few laps on the tires. It's normally not the preferred line early on. But Kurt Busch really got a run.
Has to fall in behind Jimmy Johnson down the back straightaway.
His brother Kyle Busch there challenging for that 5th spot with Jeff Gordon.
Across the top of your screen, the green along the side of those names of the drivers indicates those that are in the top 12 right now in the points. The yellow indicates drivers that have a shot to get there. And of course, white indicates those that have already been eliminated from chase contention here in 2009.
This is one of the fastest racetracks that these guys encounter, and it's a mile and a half long. And it is a blast to drive around here, but it also becomes a real bear as you get a little bit of tire wear going on.
Yeah, they ran a 30 and a half second lap there. The last lap in a 20 or 30 laps, you'll see that drop off a couple of seconds even. When the cars start sliding around, tires start wearing. See them running around on the bottom of the racetrack right now. They'll start moving up all over this racetrack, and that's what I love about Atlanta. You can race everywhere, all over this racetrack.
Yeah, we see them already spreading out here. You see guys up around the top, some guys running the middle. There we are, 3 wide coming off of turn 2.
And what a surprise, it's Juan Pablo Montoya, huh?
Man, making a nice run, too.
We mentioned Montoya's very first career top 10 in NASCAR Sprint Cup came at this racetrack, and although he has run well, he has not had another one since. And here are the Busch brothers side by side.
Well, this is a big night for Kyle Busch. He doesn't want to have to make up a huge deficit going into Richmond next week. So he knows that this is his chance to try to get himself situated in that top 12 and have a chance to win a championship this year. See Jeff Gordon there. His car was really good in practice yesterday. I talked to a number of people that said that Jeff Gordon might have or does have one of the best 3 cars in practice through yesterday. Now we know we're racing at night.
One of the hottest drivers of late is this 83 car Brian Vickers. He's showing up in the picture behind Kurt Busch right here working the high side. And he has been on fire here the last few races.
Yeah, and you watch him now. Remember Michigan where he won just a few weeks ago. It took his car a few laps to come in, but once it did, he really made that high line work. work, and it propelled him to victory lane.
Vickers, 3 top 10 finishes, last 4 races at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Right side of your screen, look at the 11 car, Denny Hamlin. He has always run well. He hasn't won here yet, but he's always run well and had very good finishes at this racetrack.
Yeah, we can see he's already working that high line. I mean, he was right against the wall. I think we're going to see that more tonight with these cars than what we saw last night in the nationwide race. It's a different tire that these guys have, too. You can see Brian Vickers really loose there in the 83.
Yeah, even see the back end of that 11 car, Hamlin wiggling coming off the corner.
They qualified and practiced both in the daytime. Now they're racing at night, guys. Big adjustment?
Yeah. You know, we really don't know. I mean, these guys, we just heard Bob Osborne say he doesn't really know what to expect as far as adjustments go.
Yeah, they don't. As we see Carl Edwards right here on the high side of David Gilliland, who's in the 21 this week. Montoya right behind him. But just going back to races that we ran here at night and back, this is the first scheduled race at night. We've had some races to where we were supposed to start it. Montoya goes between the 2 cars. Wow, what a move there. But I know the track really changed when we had to finish those races at night. It got quite a bit more grip. We see 3 wide into turn 3.
Michael Waltrip just scrubbed the wall about a half a lap ago, and the outside, watch the 55 up right side of your screen, all the way up.
Oh, just a little love tap.
That's what you always talk about, though, Andy, right? With your drivers running up there close to the wall. You might have that chance of getting into the wall a little bit more.
I mean, you're going to risk it. If you're going to run that close, I mean, you just don't have any room for error. I mean, you have to know that you're going to scrape it from time to time.
Back in March, Kurt Busch scraped the wall, went on to dominate the race. It didn't bother him at all. But right now, it is the 1 car of Martin Truex as our leader.
Everybody, are you with me?
Beautiful sunset here in central Georgia. We are just underway at Atlanta Motor Speedway for NASCAR Sprint Cup action presented by Pennzoil. Our pole sitter, Martin Truex Jr., has led all 13 laps thus far. It is Casey Kane, who got close about 3 laps ago and is now backed up by about 10 car lengths. And back in 3rd position is the 3-time Cup champion, Jimmy Johnson. There comes Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car. Got a special guest on top of his pit box watching the action tonight, and there's Cole Trickle. By the way, you know him as Tom Cruise. I'm always going to call him Cole Trickle from Days of Thunder. But
look at Jimmy Johnson, how loose he is. And that Tom Cruise knows what loose is fast, right? And Tom Cruise knows that.
Anyway, yeah.
That's what Harry Hogg told him right in the movie.
He's wheeling that thing, man.
Last 3 night races here at Atlanta, Jimmy Johnson has finished 2nd, 1st, and 2nd. Pretty good.
He is flat wheeling that car, though. You see how sideways that thing is coming off the corner?
Yeah.
Look at him. There's another one.
You talked about being sideways. You saw the 17 car, Matt Kenseth, turn that wheel to the right.
Yeah, he's got some damage, some good damage on the right side of this thing. You can see the back bumper flapping.
Oh, that's not a good situation. He was the guy that came in here in 12th.
Yeah, that's more than a love tap right there.
You cleared down. Good job being heads up. Still out there.
But you know, we saw
Still
Tim
out
Brewer.
there. He hit it pretty hard.
Tim Brewer showed us in our countdown show just how much that foam helps that. I mean, a hit like that a few years back, and you'd be in the pits fixing something.
Yeah, that's one of the really good things about these cars is they can take a lot more of that kind of beating. Vince?
Matt Kenseth just came on the radio and told Drew Blickensderfer, his crew chief, it's so loose, I can't do anything with it in the corner. Said it feels like it's got 80 pounds of air in all 4 tires. Guys, you've driven them before. You know that doesn't feel good, especially on a track as fast as Atlanta and one that has little grip to begin with. It's been an adventure so far for Matt Kenseth. It's amazing he hasn't lost more spots than he has as you see a battle between the 42 and the 14.
Vince, this track can be one of the most difficult tracks to get a hold of setup-wise. I mean, it is so slick and treacherous and bumpy. It's probably one of the most challenging racetracks to set up for.
Yeah, you see all of these things on the racetrack where you see the bumps and the dips, and you see the grooves there, where the different grooves are put together there. That makes all the difference in the world in this racetrack and what you feel. And I think you feel the tires more here whenever there's a pound or 2 air pressure difference than anywhere else that you go. And that's exactly what Matt Kenseth's saying about his car. And then it'll just act like it starts bouncing. Before long, he'll say something about feels like a basketball on each corner.
Great battle here for 11th position, and Tony Stewart is struggling a little bit. He struggled last week at Bristol. Shannon.
Well, guys, we talk about the different lines that you can run here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. It seems like Tony Stewart has found his preferred line. This is what he said to his crew chief moments ago.
Dude, I don't think we're going to be bad here. We ride the bumps good so far. These guys are struggling to stay down. 10-4, man, looking good.
Now, Tony Stewart is talking about the bumps on the bottom of the racetrack. I spoke with Darian Grubb this morning. He told me that other drivers cannot keep their car down there, so that is why Tony and this team have worked so hard on getting their car perfect in that area. And he says Tony's dirt track background definitely helps because he can drive a crazy race car.
And the short way around the racetrack is the bottom lane, right where you see Tony Stewart running, but it is so much more bumpy and it's not just little bumps, it's waves and bumps and makes the car really hard to handle. If you can make it go over those bumps well, you can shorten the racetrack up and make some time.
How difficult is it to set the car up to be soft enough over those bumps and still be able to run high if you have to?
It's very hard to do. That's just that's what makes this track one of the most challenging.
Truex, the leader up front. He's led all 20 laps thus far. And second spot, Casey Kane. And now in third position is another Hendrick teammate, Jeff Gordon, a 4-time Atlanta winner, has taken the third spot away.
Yeah, Dale said, you said he was fast in practice, and he's showing it right now. He's one of the fastest cars on the racetrack.
Yeah, they were really happy with their car in the longer run as they got some laps on the tires where other people really started struggling. They felt like their car really held up well in that scenario.
There is Kyle Busch. We told you he has only 2 top 10 finishes here in 10 starts. This place hasn't been very good to him. He's trying to turn that around tonight. Let me check that. He needs to turn that around tonight if he's going to get in the chase here in 2009. Working lap 26 here, NASCAR Sprint Cup Series action presented by Pennzoil, Atlanta Motor Speedway. It is Martin Truex Jr. who has led the first 26 laps. And as the laps click away here, guys, at Atlanta, the times and speeds are really dropping off.
Yeah, you can see 181 miles an hour on the second lap for Martin Truex, 163.7 right now, and they're still slowing. The tires just lose so much grip through a run. Now, the track's going to gain grip as it gets cooler during the night, but as this tire wears through a run, they just fall off a tremendous amount. Yeah, that makes it good. That makes them slide all over the place.
It does. It makes the drivers really work at a fast racetrack here, but the amount of grip that's going to continue to happen is not going to override what they have here with the lack of grip because of the worn out surface and this, you couple that with the car that doesn't have as much downforce. These guys really have to work tonight, and it's about whoever can get their car to slide the least amount and be comfortable and go fast.
When they did the tire test here back in July, drivers said the grip came up rather abruptly when the sun went down. That has not happened thus far because these guys still have their hands full.
Yeah, you'll see it though when they change tires, put new tires on. You'll see those speeds and grip level go up way high for a few laps, but then they fall off. Jimmy Johnson has lost the spot now to Gordon.
Johnson, one of those drivers who's been trying to just hang on here the last 15 laps.
A little more specific, but where is the loose? I'm a 15 if we're using a scale of 10, and a 10 if we're using a scale of 5 for how loose it is. I can't believe we're still hanging out up here. I am loose as a mother everywhere.
Man, we have been watching that car, and I agree with him 100%. He is sideways around this track.
Yeah, this is an oval, and I'll promise you he's turning right more than he is
right
left.
there. Look right there. You can see the wheels going to the right all the way through that corner. My goodness. Woo. Man, he is earning his paycheck tonight. Man.
What do you think Chad Knaus is thinking about right now?
Well, he's thinking, I got to tighten him up.
He said, well, yeah. He said, we got it freed up, and that's supposed to be fast, so that's a good thing. What are they saying, Jamie?
You know, Chad Knaus, you guys, he's always like loose, calm, everything's great. Well, I asked him earlier what to expect tonight, and he's like, I don't expect too much, but actually, I don't really know. And now he's finding out, guys. They set this car up way too loose to start this race.
This is a situation, I'm not sure the track is going to gain enough grip to overcome that. They're going to have to make some pretty big adjustments on this car, Andy.
Yeah, and I've not seen with this new car where the tracks, you gain that tightness that you used to see years ago where it got dark and the track tightened up. Really, I think that they're going to have to tighten this thing up. It's not going to just happen by gaining grip through the night.
Let's update Kyle Busch back in 5th spot. Dave.
Not running too bad right now, just a little bit loose for Kyle. He does have one mechanical issue. He reported early in the race, just a little loose. Oh my gosh, hung on to that right there. It can't be because of the cool box, which is not working right now. That won't be a problem now, but we're going to get some day races where they're going to have that problem fixed. Let's go to Tim Brewer in the Craftsman Tech Garage. Tim, how's the cool box work for the driver?
Thanks, Dave. We've got got the cool box, folks, and it goes back around the back of the seat. But what we do, we conduct airflow from the side of the car into the cool box. It's actually cooled here that conducts the airflow into the top of the helmet. We learned a long time ago what you want to do is cool the driver with the airy breeze. So we've got a high switch fan, and we've also got a high heat cool control right here. But the driver, he can control it. Draws 30 amps. As long as you don't have any problems with the charging system, you can run it all night. But if it's not working, just simply cut it off and let the air free throw, and it'll be fine.
I never did. I think they need to change the name of that. Cool box is not really a good name for that. Cooler maybe, but saying it's cool. Folks, even though it's nighttime here, it's still over 130 degrees inside these race cars.
It is definitely not air conditioning, in other words.
No.
Here's a couple of guys that are trying to get in the chase. A couple of Toyotas. You saw Vickers go by and Kyle Busch there. Vickers really on a move. As you talked about the great run he's had the last 5 or 6 races. 5 top 10 finishes for that 83 car in the last 7 races. And Vickers driving his way now into chase contention.
Yeah, and that pass right there makes these two guys. I know we have a long way to go, but this is what we have to keep up with at this time with less than 2 races left. Right, that puts these two guys even points-wise right now. So, but Kyle Busch, I think, would get in because he has more race wins. So that's something Vickers has to think about. He's got to pick up another spot.
Yeah, they just passed Clint Boyer. He's actually a lap down already in this race, and these two guys are virtually tied in the points and both trying to get in this chase.
And as DJ mentioned, the tiebreaker is the total number of wins. Kyle Busch has won 4 times. Vickers has 1 win. Now the 17 car, who began the day 12th squarely on the bubble, is about to be lapped. He is being shown back in 31st position.
Well, he had that contact with the wall, and pretty significant too, and he was already loose, and I'm sure that didn't make it any better. You see Truex now is putting him down 1 lap.
Yeah, and Andy, as you said earlier, you made a great point that if your car's off here, because of the fast speeds, we have trouble here on coming off the floor. Sam Hornish.
Sam Hornish Jr.
Right there. Get it going. Get it going.
That's going to be a break for Matt Kenseth. He's going to get the free pass there because he just got lapped.
That's it. Let's be ready for right front splitter stuff here,
I was wondering how long these guys could hold on to these cars as loose as they were.
That's the one thing that you dread here is that first run being really long, and if you were off a little bit. And remember, these guys practiced during the daytime yesterday. They really didn't know what to expect. And it looked like some of them overcompensated, thinking they might get more grip than what there actually is.
That collective cheer you heard a moment ago was drivers inside the car when they heard the caution flag was out. They get to come on pit road and adjust the cars, and there's the damage, or just a little bit of a lawn mowing gun by the front Dodge.
Flat tires and a little bit of grass they can pull out of there, and Sam will be back on his way.
See, right here, this is going to happen.
And this is one that didn't get saved. We've seen plenty of these almost happen.
Yeah, that was literally right in front of the leader, too.
Plows it across the grass, and Sam coming off 2 top 5 finishes in the last 4 outings, so really gaining on it here, but struggling, as are many drivers in the early laps at Atlanta here tonight.
Yeah, Clark was in the wheel for that grass right there.
We had 29 cars that stayed on the lead lap there. We'll have 30 back on the lead lap when Matt Kenseth is given his free pass.
We'll see a lot of wedge wrenches spinning down there on pit road when they come in.
Well, I was going to ask you, crew chief, 37 laps in, how big a swing do you take at it? Now, how much of an adjustment can you afford to make?
Well, Matt Kenseth and Jimmy Johnson both need to really tighten their cars up. I mean, we're talking about not more than one adjustment. I mean, big adjustment.
The 17 car is our Aaron's lucky dog. He is the first car lap down and will get the free pass. So after a miserable handling car, Matt Kenseth gets 2 breaks, gets a caution flag and the lucky dog to get back on the lead lap.
Matt's also going to have to fix some damage that he got when he hit that wall. He's got that back bumper that's detached from the side of the car. They need to work on that and get this car a lot better for Matt.
Pit road should be open this time as they come by. 45 miles an hour on pit road, 55 miles an hour for the pace car. And the leader will peel off, Martin Truex Jr. Casey Kane and others coming down for the first pit stop of the night. Dave.
Doc, just a little tricky for Casey Kane right now. Tight most of the run, hitting the splitter loose on just the last 5 laps. It's going to be track bar up a little, plus an air pressure adjustment. Vince?
The 24 of Jeff Gordon, pretty good at the beginning of the run, started to tighten up as the run progressed, not taking a big swing at all, a little bit of a chassis adjustment and 4 tires. Jamie?
The 48 on the bottom, Jimmy Johnson, you saw how loose he was. They're going to make a Panhard bar adjustment, wedge adjustment, air pressure adjustment to try to snug him up. Sunoco Fueling's down and away, Shannon.
Your pole sitter says his car is just a little bit snug, but overall the balance is good, no changes. 4 tires for Martin Truex Jr.
Race off of pit road, and Casey King gains a spot and will be the first car off pit road. You saw they all changed tires. Martin up 2, Vickers back 2. Back with a restart at Atlanta in just a moment. Under caution the first time out at Atlanta Motor Speedway, a spin by Sam Hornish. No minimal damage on his car. Brought out the caution flag. Leaders have been on and off pit road, and the 17 car of Matt Kenseth getting some repairs done to the right side of his Ford.
They spent some time to try to reattach that rear bumper, and looks like they've done a good job with the bare bond. He's going to get off the pit road, stay on the lead lap, just ahead of the pace car.
That's an important part of this car, too, Andy, that right rear section of really keeping the air attached there. So they wanted to make sure they took the time to get that fixed.
Yeah, there's a lot of side force right there that these cars and drivers, they rely on that to keep the car from getting sideways like we've been seeing most of them all night long.
Casey Kane's crew been able to get him off pit road first, so he is the new leader. Martin Truex second. That was a race off pit road between the 48 car of Jimmy Johnson and the 18 of Kyle Busch. Originally, they had Kyle Busch in front of Jimmy. They've now corrected that because Jimmy beat him by about 2 inches.
Yeah, close race off of pit road. This makes a big difference, though, for Jimmy Johnson to get this spot because it puts him on that outside lane. And that's going to help him here on this restart.
Yeah, I had a number of drivers tell me at Michigan, after that Michigan race, and we were talking about the restarts and things, they would have rather restarted 10th on the outside than 3rd on the inside because it was so much momentum. And on the outside, you were going forward. On the inside, it took you so much time to get that momentum to be able to, because you were headed backwards.
Double file restart shootout style. Casey Kane on the outside lane, Truex on the inside, and as the pace car prepares to pull away, we will listen into the spotters as we go full throttle with the Gree V12.
All right, here we go. Pace cars off. Be ready. 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 Green flag. Green flag. Green flag. Got the outside. Outside. On top now. Outside. You're clear.
Real tight, middle 3. 26 is going up high, so middle 3. Middle 3. Outside. Outside.
Outside, Jim.
If you see him. If you see him. Clear low, clear low. I'm keeping an eye on the head of you, too. You're clear.
88 back inside. Clear by half.
Just that quickly, Martin Truex Jr. retakes the lead, and here's the 24 car now. Jeff Gordon sailing by for a second spot over Casey Kane. More on Casey Kane. Dave.
Hey guys, which line was the fast line on restarts at Michigan?
That was the outside, Dave.
That's right. What was the fast line at Bristol?
Outside.
That's right. Why do you think they chose the outside here? Kenny Francis told me today, I think we're going to have to go with the outside unless it proves not to be as valuable as it has been. I don't know. They're going to have to look at that pretty close.
Yeah, what do they think now, Dave?
They might choose the outside next time, the inside next time.
Yeah, Martin Truex definitely took the advantage right there from the inside. We haven't seen that lately.
No, we haven't, but I think what we're seeing, Martin Truex just has a very good race car. It's able to go at the beginning of a run, and it hangs on really well, too.
See the back of the 24 car just wobbling back and forth around there, and now he gets a little out of shape, and the 9 car has a shot to go downstairs and maybe get back by.
See Jimmy Johnson right there kind of threading the needle between these guys.
That was kind of the line that saw Jeff Gordon run a lot yesterday. It wasn't the bottom, it wasn't the top, so kind of in the middle. We see Jeff there. His car's really wiggling a lot.
Got a Dodge, 2 Chevys, and here comes a Toyota of Kyle Busch.
Look how sideways this 48 car is still. You got Kyle Busch now on the inside of the 48.
Yeah, he's going to try to take both of these spots away down on the bottom part of the racetrack. 3 wide here.
Wow, 3rd, 4th, and 5th with Jimmy Johnson in the middle, and now Kyle Busch slides right up in front of Johnson. Vince.
You see that 24 car of Jeff Gordon. It's a brand new car, has all the latest and greatest of the Hendrick technology. It's also the sister car of that car it just went around, the 48 of Jimmy Johnson. Steve Letarte, the crew chief for Jeff Gordon, said those 2 cars came here identical. Gordon's car better in that first stint than Jimmy Johnson's, but they both are fast today, and look for them to be running up toward the front. They are really happy with the way that 24 car has worked this weekend, and a pretty good first stint for Jeff Gordon, who's won here several times before.
Yeah, they're both just about identical in speed right here at this point of the run. See Jimmy Johnson now trying to dive to the inside of Jeff Gordon.
Denny Hamlin now trying to reel in Jimmy Johnson on the bottom of the racetrack. See Hamlin coming there in the 11 car. Will pull up on the inside of Gordon for 5th position.
Yeah, that first run we saw Jimmy's car be pretty decent in the beginning, and Jeff seemed to be pretty good towards the end of the run. We'll see if that pattern holds true during this one. Here comes another Hendrick car in the picture, Mark Martin.
Right side of your screen, Mark. Mark's a 2-time winner here, and folks, Mark's last win came 15 years ago, back in 1994. Hard to believe it's been that long. And both of his wins came on the old configuration of the racetrack, back when it was a pure rectangle.
Yeah, it was a lot of us hated to see that old racetrack though, because it was so much fun to race on, but what they came with was something new and improved and had a lot of speed to it, and was fast, and now it's just worn out. It's still fast.
It's still matured into a great racetrack, and where you can really race each other, like right here. This is just great racing with the back ends hung out. You know, when the track has a lot of grip, you can't really hang it out like that. It's just too fast and too much single file racing, but when it gets worn out, it gets, I call it character. I love this kind of racing.
Mark Martin, one of the great stories here in 2009, coming out of semi-retirement at the age of 50. He said Rick Hendrick gave him a chance to maybe go back and get that championship, and trying to drive his way and stay in the chase here for 2009.
See Kurt Busch, the winner here back in March, and Carl Edwards both passing Brian Vickers there. Looks like so far everything's good with Carl with his car and his foot right now. Shannon?
It's a little bit of a different setup that Carl Edwards is running here today. The team told me this morning that they're just test driving it for the chase. They have practiced with it before, but they've never had it in race conditions. So far, so good. Carl Edwards says the car is just a little bit loose. They did make some chassis adjustments on that last pit stop, and 4 tires for the 99, guys.
Here comes Tony Stewart now. He's starting to move to the front. Made a change or adjustment on that last pit stop and got this 14 car running.
Yeah, whatever change they might have made with the 24 doesn't look like it's to his liking right now. He's starting to drop back. That puts him back to the 8th spot.
Tony Stewart was one of the 4 drivers that did the tire test here in July, and thought Goodyear had done a great job with this tire. Said it would come to him as the night goes on. It is definitely coming to Tony Stewart right now.
Sprint brings you an inside look at today's NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race on the Now Network. The current top 3 in points, all having locked themselves into the chase for the Sprint Cup. Tony Stewart, Jimmy Johnson, and Jeff Gordon as they run right now on the racetrack. And the top speed, how about 198 mile-an-hour trap speed for Casey Kane on one of NASCAR's fastest tracks. For more NASCAR stats, in-car audio, and live race radio, check out NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile at sprint.com/speed. From the pit studio, Rusty, Brad, and Ray watching the opening miles of this race unfold. Some early thoughts, Rusty?
Well, I guess it looks like everybody's loose out there right now. Folks got to remember one thing. There's been no night practice here, and the drivers have just got to deal with it right now with these cars that are not handling good. They got to be careful. They got to hold their composure. They need to be talking to their crew chiefs about how to fix these cars, and above all, don't crash these cars right now until they can get down pit road and get them fixed.
Yeah, one driver that's really thinking about that is Matt Kenseth. He's in 30th position right now. Got to the wall earlier in the race. Right now, he's 2 spots out of being in the chase. It's a horrible start for Matt Kenseth.
And guys, we just haven't seen as many cautions as we think we'd see for as loose as those race cars are. I mean, we have seen the 48, the 18 completely sideways, which again goes back to this new car with that wing on it. Seems when it gets yawed out, that wing lets them put a little bit more downforce on those rear wheels and straighten those things out.
Coming back to what Brad said, how far back is Matt Kenseth? Ray almost finished his answer before we found Matt Kenseth on the camera.
I'll tell you what, Matt Kenseth is in a lot of trouble right now. There's a lot of laps to go, but he is struggling and having a tough time He got that right rear into the wall. He is in trouble.
Now here's somebody else in trouble. Jeff Gordon is really falling back. He's all the way back to 15th spot after running as high as as third and fourth earlier in the race. Vince, what's going on?
That's exactly right. The 24 of Jeff Gordon, he said, I don't know what you did to it, but it is not good. It is bad loose. And as you could tell by the way he's dropping down the leaderboard, he has got his hands full. Now they know that they're going to have cars that'll struggle throughout the course of some of these runs. And Steve Letarte, the crew chief, said, just hang on. We got a long night as we got a yellow out on the track.
It is Sam Hornish again here bringing out the caution. Sam coming down and sliding sideways across the racetrack. And for the second time tonight, the 77 car will bring out the yellow flag.
Well, he slid a little further down the front straightaway that time.
Yeah, still, he's got a little scrape on the right side, but other than that, I'm not sure he's got a lot of damage. Haven't seen the other side of the car. Yeah, it looks fine. He's just got flat tires again.
Part of a tire carcass coming off his car. You see the left rear tire was also flat as he came by.
That could have been what created that problem.
Yeah, because
right
you see that tire carcass laying where it is on the racetrack could have started this. If he had a tire going down, and yeah,
he's all the way off the corner there.
Turned around right there on the straightaway. See the tire, piece of the tire laying up against the wall. Like Denny Hamlin just missed it.
I think Ray Evernham jinxed him. He said, I can't believe we're not seeing more of these guys sliding sideways as loose as these race cars are and having more caution flags. Now we've had two.
I'll tell you what, Jeff Gordon is glad to see that caution because he was headed backwards as those guys were talking about. He was really struggling. Watched him a number of times almost get into the wall off turn 2.
And another break for the 17 car of Matt Kenseth, who is the last car on the lead lap, back in 30th position. He'll be able to come on and try to do something to get this car where it needs to be on the racetrack.
Yeah, he's in trouble right now. He needs to get this car fixed or he's going to take a huge hit in points tonight. Leaders are on pit road.
Second time tonight, second caution flag, and they will all take a chance to come down and get some fresh Goodyears. Dave.
Doc Casey Kane gives up second place. He called his car better. They will raise the track bar just a little bit more. They will take a little more air pressure out of the right rear for him, full of Sunoco fuel before he leaves. Vince?
The 5 car of Mark Martin, he says he is completely out of control. They're making a track bar adjustment going down one round and a tire pressure adjustment as well. Jamie Little?
The last changes for Jimmy Johnson gave him more grip, but he said he needs more forward bite. They're going to make a wedge adjustment, more tires and fuel. Jimmy is away, Shannon.
Jamie Martin Truex Jr. says the car is still good, a little bit snug. It starts off, but then it starts to free up. He lost one pit road spot last pit stop. See how he gets off this one.
So Kyle Busch will be able to be the first car off of pit road. So a little move there by the 18 guys.
I think they got. I think they just did a great job on pit road and got him out there. He's going to get 5 bonus points, which is going to be very important to him. His pit crew did a fantastic job for him last night, and the driver has to do his part. This is a difficult pit road. The pit boxes aren't huge, so obviously Kyle's doing a really good job of getting himself situated in there where the crew can do their job.
Andy, we heard guys talking about 4 tires, but also needing forward bite as you watch the 17 continuing to make repairs here. What do you do to get forward bite on these cars?
Well, you just got to start spinning some jack screws. You play with combinations, the track bar, the wedge, spring rubbers. You can add spring rubbers to the left rear. Sometimes, though, when you got a track this slick, you can over-adjust this thing trying to get it tight and actually make it worse. So, seeing a lot of that happening. Maybe that's what happened to Jeff Gordon.
Under caution for the second time tonight. There's the 82 car. Our Aaron's Lucky Dog free pass goes to Scott Speed. He was the first car a lap down, and now he will be able to get back on the lead lap. Getting set for the restart here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, finishing caution for the second time tonight. Cars have been on and off pit road. Let's show you Mark Hollywood Armstrong, who is changing tires for the 7 car of Robbie Gordon.
Here we go, race fans. We just need a nice, smooth stop here. Make a lot of adjustments.
Boy, you can see just how important that light is right there on his helmet, because it's so dark in there. Yeah, and here's Hollywood now watching the replay from the pit box. They film these pit stops and then review them.
Pace car pulling away. Good job, Hollywood, to get ready to go green back here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And it is Kyle Busch who is now the 3rd leader of the night. Kyle got the lead coming off pit road and has now led 2 laps. It is Busch, Truex, Kane, Johnson, and Denny Hamlin in the top 5.
And he did choose that inside line. As you can see, Martin Truex getting really loose there as Denny Hamlin got up under his rear bumper.
Here comes Johnson with a big run down the backstretch. And Kyle Busch has got a huge lead over there in 3 and 4 already.
This is the battle for second spot here, and Johnson will take that position away.
That's the first time we've really seen the inside lane be such a good lane to be in on these restarts for these double file restarts. Check out this 21 car, David Gilliland, man. He is having a great run so far.
Subbing for Bill Elliott in the Wood Brothers car, and after Bill broke 3 ribs in a dirt bike accident. More on the 21, Dave.
And then we're told about that on Thursday. That's when Gilliland got the call, Doc. They already had the car loaded, so they pulled it back. They put some extra padding on Bill's seat, and they even extended the pedals, welded some extensions in there for David Gilliland, just so he would fit in there. Won't be the most comfortable ride, but so far he's making it look good.
Indeed he is, Dave, and he is a hot commodity. Gilliland, we're being told, may run a 4th Joe Gibbs car for 3 races here later on in the season, so certainly his talent showing through well.
Yeah, he's been steadily moving forward this entire race, and they made a good pit stop. They did lose a couple of spots on pit road, but they're still maintaining their competitive position on the racetrack. See right here, man, he is right between some really good cars. Mark Martin and Carl Edwards.
You can see Jeff Gordon was still in that mix. Hopefully he got his car a little bit better than what he had the last time. See the 9 car making his way back towards the front here.
That is 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Truex is 3rd, and side by side for 4th and 5th. Denny Hamlin trying to hold off the charge of Casey Kane.
Yeah, the last pit stop, we heard a lot of teams were undoing some of the changes they made on that first pit stop because they were trying to get these cars tighter, get more rear grip, like we were talking about that forward bite. But sometimes there's just so much available. You try to go get more, and all you can do is just unhook the other end of the car and then make the thing a lot worse. So I think that happened to a lot of cars, a lot of drivers during that last run, and now we're hearing that a lot of teams undid those changes. There's Reed Sorensen working just on the inside now of David Gilliland.
Reed Sorensen is a native Georgia boy from Peachtree City, Georgia. Made his very first career start here at Atlanta. At his first career top 10 at this racetrack. And here comes Dale Earnhardt Jr. now. Out on the inside of the 24 car, trying to take that spot away. That is 13th position.
Yeah, the last few weeks have been a lot better for this race team, with Junior getting more acclimated to each other and to these cars. Been doing a good job. Had a nice run in the nationwide race last night, so a little confidence booster for the driver also.
We mentioned he's coming off back-to-back top 10 finishes. Finished 3rd at Michigan, finished 9th at Bristol, and almost didn't finish here tonight if he doesn't gather that one back yet.
It's the thing that we've been seeing, the drivers, as they try to make that pass on the inside, they have to really be careful. Most of these cars are just so loose right now. If they try to overdrive them, getting down into the center, get back to the throttle too soon, really gets them out of shape.
Jimmy Johnson now moving in on the 18 of Kyle Busch. Johnson has not led a lap tonight. It has been Truex who was the pole sitter twice for 58 laps. Kyle Busch has now led the last 9 laps, and Casey Kane led 3 laps.
Guys, it's not too surprising we talk about how loose all of these cars are. The 2 guys that come to mind when you think about driving these things loose, Kyle Busch and Jimmy Johnson battling for the lead right now. It wasn't long ago we were talking about how out of control Jimmy Johnson was, and here he is trying to take the lead.
I think he's still out of control. He's just fast. He's not let up a single bit, though. You can see he's driving up on the outside now, trying to drive on the outside of Kyle Busch.
I think this is a lot of times where Jimmy Johnson doesn't get enough credit for hanging on to that car early when it was so loose, and then getting it adjusted and now taking advantage of that. Even though it's still extremely loose, he's able to make that high line work.
Now, 2 distinct look at that car. That 48 is still loose, but it's fast. He makes the pass on Kyle Busch.
You think Tom Cruise came on and told him about that? Loose was fast, like you said?
Jimmy Johnson officially scored as the leader last time by.
Well, Jimmy Johnson continues to lead. A reminder that after our race coverage is done tonight, we go to NASCAR Now post-race, 11:30 Eastern, ESPN2. And tomorrow, the Mac Tools NHRA U.S. Nationals, presented by Lucas Oil from Indianapolis, 1 Eastern, ESPN2. Next weekend, it's on to Richmond, Virginia. The Nationwide Series race is on Friday night, 7 Eastern, ESPN2. And the race that'll determine who gets in and who gets left out of the chase. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series Chevy Rock and Roll 400, 7 Eastern next Saturday on ABC. Make note of that. After tonight, all the Cup races for the rest of the season are on ABC. So Jimmy Johnson has opened up a 2-second lead on Kyle Busch. He took the lead at lap 72, and just a few laps later, here he is with that 2-second lead. The Miller Lite Taste Greatness Spotlights. The 3-time consecutive champ, who, if you look at those numbers, is doing better than he did last year when he won that 3rd consecutive title.
And that is scary. I mean, they're getting ready for the Chase playoff coming up right after Richmond to march towards that 4th championship. But what's even more impressive is Jimmy Johnson on all mile-and-a-half tracks has a 9th place finish average, which is outstanding.
Now, Jimmy, one of the guys who's locked in his place in the chase for the Sprint Cup. Guy trying to race his way in is Clint Boyer. And this isn't going so well for Clint here tonight. He's 32nd and a lap down.
Oh, yeah, this car is big time loose right now. I've talked about it a little bit about what they've been doing. So Shannon Spake just told us they put a lot of adjustments in that left rear spring, dropped the track bar down to the right side. He's just screaming loose right now, like you said, Alan, a lap down. And now this is a fellow that we thought had an outside chance to get in the chase. He was in 15th position coming into this race. So right now he's even out of the top 15.
And that was Richard Childress Racing's only hope to get in the chase. And he is one of the guys that we talked about. He's going to be behind that magic 162-point mark and could be eliminated tonight if he doesn't get that thing up front.
But just what you said earlier, Rusty, don't give up. Clint Boyer's the first car a lap down. He gets a caution. He gets the free pass. They keep adjusting on that car. You never know what could happen at the end of the night. Speaking of adjusting, Tim Brewer in our Craftsman Tech Garage. Show us a little bit about what that 33 team's been trying to do.
What they're trying to do, Alan, is tighten the rear of the car up. By lowering the track bar over on the right side, you effectively tighten the car up. But what we were saying, we seen the guys actually working on the left rear and dropping the track bar down. That's going to tighten the car up also. But there again, when you put a rubber in the left rear spring, you're actually trying to increase that spring rate. You're real loose, you're going to put a half rubber in, or you can put the whole rubber in. But right now we're going back to the booth for a caution.
Thank you, Tim. And it is Carl Edwards in the 99 car as we have caution now being shown for the 3rd time tonight.
Smoke under the hood there.
Yeah, puff of smoke coming out of the side of the car as he came rolling, comes sailing down pit road.
He's speeding down pit road, so this is probably not going to be a good situation for the 99 team.
Signboard, let's lift hood and look everything over.
It's like oil on that right front tire, too.
So the hood up on the 99 car, and we were just talking about how good luck is good for some, and of course Carl Edwards struggling here tonight, has not won yet in 2009 after winning 9 races a year ago. But Carl's bad fortune is a good fortune for the 33 car. Clint Boyer is going to be able to get the free pass, and he will be able to get back on the lead lap. He gets the lucky dog free pass. Let's listen in.
Check your gauges here, buddy. Check your gauges. Yeah, something ain't right, guys. Yeah, just don't wreck that thing. It's an oil line or something here. Yellow's out. Yellow's out.
Well, that's when a spotter really does help right there.
Let's go down to Dave.
Leader Kyle Busch, actually 2nd place, not bad, just a little bit loose. They'll make a track bar and air pressure adjustment. Jamie.
The leader was Jimmy Johnson. He said, I loved that last change. It was a wedge adjustment. He said, a little more of that will help me out. I need a little more grip. 4 tires, Shannon.
Martin Truex Jr. says he needs forward bite. These are the first adjustments on this car all night. 4 tires, track bar, and air pressure for Martin Truex Jr. as the field comes down off pit road, guys.
The race off again, and guess who, guys? The 18 car beats them all. Kyle Busch gains a spot, changed 4 tires. And Andy, we talked about how important pit selection was. Not only great pit work, but Kyle Busch had a great spot.
Well, they're getting it done on pit road. They've got that first pit stall, and it seems to be paying off for them.
Kyle Busch back out front following the caution flag, and Carl backing up. We'll head to the garage area. We'll update in a moment. Cleanup going on pit road here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. That is the oil from beneath the 99 car of Carl Edwards when he backed up pit road to be able to go into the garage area. And some of the guys in there, Andy, really working hard to get that oil off the concrete.
Yeah, he's just backing up. Carl was trying to get to the garage, and that thing was leaking a ton of oil as they were coming out. You can see it right here. This is a trail of oil going right to his pit stall or his garage stall to try to diagnose this problem. So see Jimmy Johnson's crew, they want to get all that off that pit stall and that pit road. Not just for the crew, but also to get traction for Jimmy as he comes out of the pits.
The 17 car back on pit road work continuing there, trying to get that car repaired.
Yeah, they're cutting this awful close right here.
Yeah, he's got the whole field now entering turn 3, coming to the green.
Make sure he doesn't speed right here.
He'll have a hard time catching up to the field before the green flag.
Matt Kenseth stayed out, by the way, to get those 5 bonus points for leading a lap, so very valuable to him to be able to get those points. Getting set for the restart once again, it is Kyle Busch with great pit work. He led him off pit road. He has chosen the inside lane here on the double file restart. Jimmy Johnson.
Dumbest thing I've done tonight.
Yeah, you can see the numbers comparing the pit times of the 2 cars. Not much, but just enough to get that spot. Just 0.7 of a second.
Casey Kane moving to the outside of the 11 car. 11 spun the tires, and Casey gives the spot back.
Yeah, you see some of the cars, even Mark Martin spun the tires on that restart. It's just so little grip out there. Even with new tires, it's hard to get going.
But if joined our coverage, we've had 3 caution flags tonight for a total of 13 laps. And here is the scramble up front. There's a 12 car, David Stremme, trying to go on the outside of Mark Martin. 42 of Juan Pablo Montoya is there. Reed Sorensen in front of that group in the 43 car having a good run. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. has already scraped the wall once, running that typical Earnhardt highlight.
You can see him racing with Brian Vickers there. Vickers had slid back a little bit. He's got to get that thing righted if he's going to still give himself a chance to get into the chase. See Kevin Harvick and Jeff Burton, teammates there, battling each other.
This is back 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17th as you look back at Burton and Harvick behind them. What a struggle it has been this year for Richard Childress Racing, but they made an announcement this week. They're going to make some adjustments in terms of the competition department there.
They're going to take Scott Miller and move him from the crew chief spot on that 31 over to the competition director, making a few more changes there too to try to help the performance of that team.
See Jeff Gordon going in a different direction than when we checked in with him a little while ago. He's moving back forward, takes that spot away from Kurt Busch. He moves back up into the 5th spot.
He was probably one of those teams we heard undoing some of the changes they made on that first stop.
Here's David Stremme battling David Rudeman.
They've been side by side for a couple of laps now.
Yeah. Stremme having a good run here tonight. His car looks really solid.
That's 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th on the screen. By the way, David Stremme, it was announced this week that Brad Keselowski would take over this car number 12 in 2010. Jamie.
Well, it's been interesting for Brian Vickers. His car was really loose. They made an air pressure wedge adjustment. Now they've gone back. Their car is exactly the way they started it. He said it's so tight, it feels like a pogo stick. So we're going to keep working on this car to hopefully go forward.
He was really having to work right there. Montoya really got down on his quarter panel there as they were down in the middle of 3 and 4. And Vickers was having to squeeze out of the throttle a little bit as he fights back now to the inside.
Well, we are just shuffling this bubble around here. Guys trying to get in the chase. Remember, it is tonight and next Saturday night at Richmond. That's all you got to be able to get in the chase for 2009. And Vickers is there. You see Montoya, guys shuffling up and back here every 5 or 10 laps.
It's changing every lap. We see it changing while we're watching it here. So this is just how tight it is on that bubble.
Yeah, this is what the season is about for these guys, getting in that top 12. That's the only guys that are going to have a chance to get into the chase and have a chance at winning a championship in 2009.
Yeah, this guy right here is the one that's made the most ground tonight so far is this 18 car, Kyle Busch.
There have been 6 lead changes among 5 different leaders, and it is Kyle Busch now leading the show here. Truex, Johnson, Stewart, and Gordon, the top 5.
Dari Noka in studio while you enjoy the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Atlanta. Just want to let you know over on ESPN2 there is Sunday Night Baseball. Padres and the National League Western Division leading Dodgers. San Diego with the bases loaded right now against Hiroki Kuroda, and you see a base hit up the middle. Padres are going to take the lead on the Dodgers 2-1. That game over on ESPN2.
All right, so the Dodgers trying to lock in a spot in baseball's postseason. NASCAR drivers trying to lock in a spot in the chase for the Sprint Cup. Our NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race from Atlanta, presented by Pennzoil, and a new leader, Martin Truex Jr. just went by Kyle Busch a lap ago and put himself back out in front. Truex started on pole and has now reassumed the top spot.
I tell you, Truex has been strong all night long. He kind of lost that spot to Kyle Busch just a little while ago, but this car, the handling of Martin Truex's car has been superior to seems like the rest of the field, Brad, and it looks like he's got his mojo going on tonight.
Yeah, he does. From qualifying to the start of the race, he's led over 60 laps tonight. That is the car to beat that #1 car. Martin Truex is really strong.
Yeah, guys, it's looking like we saw last night. You know, we keep talking about the top momentum. The fast cars are on the bottom. Kevin Harvick really destroyed the field last night on the bottom. Looks like Martin Truex has got the hot car again on the bottom of the racetrack.
And while you watch Kyle Busch in the yellow car try and hold off Jimmy Johnson for second place, just a quick note, one thing Truex has got to work on his team, holding the lead on pit stops. Twice he's come down pit road tonight leading, and twice he's gone out not leading anymore. Big story tonight, Carl Edwards back in the garage area. Vince, what happened?
Well, it's one thing when you're trying to race with a broken foot and then you have mechanical problems. Something came up from the track. Some debris ruptured the oil cooler, so they've been furiously working to replace the radiator. Right now they've got the new radiator in. They're going through the car just to make sure that they've got everything, all the hoses on tight. Bob Osborne, the crew chief, just reminding the team, make sure we haven't missed anything in a hurry to get the car back out. So Edwards will be going back out soon, but they've had a lot of work to do here in the garage to replace that radiator.
Thank you very much, Vince. And Andy, you can explain about how the relationship is there with the oil cooler and the radiator.
Well, not all teams run exactly the same cooling system, but typically you have a radiator and an oil cooler attached to each other. Sometimes you even have an intercooler inside the radiator that uses water to cool the oil. So, you know, that system is basically tied together. So that's why they're changing that whole thing. A little debris came up there and hit that thing. That's kind of unusual. You don't see that very much.
This group here is still racing. They've been racing for 20 laps with Reed Sorensen in there, Montoya. There's Vickers a part of that. Now you see Kevin Harvick's joined the mix.
See Kurt Busch right in front of him up there, and that's 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, all trying to move their way toward the top 5, and Montoya continuing to be aggressive in spite of the fact he needs sort of to hang on that top 12 spot in the points. We wondered if Montoya would race it or what he would pace it. I guess no question now. He's going to race this right or race his way into the chase.
Well, he's got to keep running hard here, and you see he's got that back end hung out. He's letting it all hang out here tonight.
Yeah, you can't hang back. I mean, you know, his whole goal is to get top 10 finishes, and that's what he's trying to do right now, even though he sits just outside the top 10 after Vickers passes him there. But he's doing, I think, exactly what he wants to do right at this point in time of this race.
Whoop, little give and take right there. You see Vickers sliding right up in front of Montoya.
Last 2 times out, Juan Pablo Montoya has run in the top 10 much of the day and had trouble in the final laps, like happened at Bristol, where he had a cut tire. With less than 40 laps to go, ended up logging a 25th place finish.
Ron Vickers looks like he has his car a little bit better now. It's taking a little time once again to come in, but he's able to make his way back into the top 10. Trying to take that 9th spot away from Kurt Busch, who was, again, our winner here back in March. See Vickers trying to make that bottom work, but Montoya gets such a run.
Thread the needle right there. Had some momentum. He wanted a place to take it. Oh, got a caution, guys. Don't see anything.
There's the 13 car.
Oh, there it is.
And he had just come off of pit road a moment ago with a vibration. Max Pappas.
Don't even worry about it till these other cars come. 3 more, 2 more, 1 more, and then you're clear to the bottom so you get it down. All clear. Get it to the bottom.
And Max has hit a ton with his Toyota, so that brings out caution now for the 4th time tonight. Max, the open wheel ace, who had the great run at Watkins Glen a few weeks ago, finished, got his career best finish there of 8th after a top 15 qualifying effort. And the vibration came on pit road. Let's see if we can see what happened as he was trying to come off.
Whoa, man, that thing took a right-hand turn abruptly.
It looked like something broke
there.
there.
Something broke. Either a tire went flat, blew a right front, or something broke. Man.
So the leaders will come back on the pit road. They last pitted on lap 83. That's 21 laps ago as they come down. Let's go down to Dave Burns.
Kyle Busch gives up third, calls his car so junk after 10 laps. They'll remove air pressure all the way around and put some wedge in the left rear to try to help Kyle. Vince.
24 of Jeff Gordon coming in. Gordon says the car's still a little bit tight in the center and the back end is swinging out. Says it's awesome the first couple of laps, then it tightens up. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment with 4 fresh tires. Jamie?
Jimmy Johnson said he has front grip now. He can use a little rear grip, 4 tires and fuel. He asked for a wedge adjustment. They opted not to do it, Shannon.
Martin Truex just a little bit free at the end of that run. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment and 4 tires as the 18 comes down pit road, guys.
A 13.5 second stop for Kyle Busch's bunch, and Bo Johnson and Gordon were in the 14-second category, so Kyle Busch will gain 2 spots. Truex back 1, Johnson back 1, and Kurt Busch up a couple of positions with his Dodge team gaining him up to 7th position. So again, the guys on pit road in the 18 pit. Steve Addington and company getting it done on pit road. Back in a moment.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Atlanta Motor Speedway, presented by Pennzoil, is brought to you by Autotrader.com. Compare new and used cars in your area. Plus, review photos and features side by side to find the car you want at the price you want at Autotrader.com. And Vault. Drinks like a soda, kicks like an energy drink. Vault. Get to it.
New leader after a round of caution flag pit stops here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway as we get ready for the restart. Kyle Busch, 18, has chosen the outside lane for this restart. He got off pit road ahead of Martin Truex in the 1 car. And it's the 3rd time tonight that the 1 car has come onto pit road as the leader, but left not with the lead. Now, the 1 car has the first pit stall at pit exit, and that's usually an advantage. So why is Kyle Busch getting out ahead of that 1 car? Ray, you got a theory?
Well, Kyle's pitted at the other end. I think he can get in sooner without having to slow down a bunch, deaccelerating. But the length over pit road, we know the guys are pushing the pit road speed limit, and that pit road is 1,600 feet long. At 45 miles an hour, it takes you 24 seconds to get down there. At 48 miles an hour, it's just 22.7 seconds. So he could be gaining just in 3 miles an hour difference going down in pit road speed, still within the pit road speed limit. He could be beating them by a second on pit road.
So he could be a little conservative coming down pit road, not wanting to get busted. I'm talking Truex now. He could be a little conservative coming down pit road. He can call NASCAR and find out what that speed's been and correct that after the problem.
Carl Edwards is back on the track. They were under Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car for a little bit on this caution. Follow up on those stories momentarily. First up to Doc, DJ, and Andy for the restart.
Thanks, guys. They were checking the toe in, by the way, under the 88 car where he had just brushed the wall to make sure Earnhardt Jr.'s car was okay. Getting set for the restart, and Kyle Busch will come down. And all these guys spinning the tires a little bit on the restarts here, Andy.
Yeah, but getting going pretty good. We don't see anybody losing a ton of ground. We saw Kyle Busch choose the inside and the outside lane for these restarts.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin getting a real run right here. Going to try to take the lead away from his teammate.
Denny Hamlin has not led a lap tonight. Running back in second spot, there comes Tony Stewart now on the bottom of the racetrack inside of Jimmy Johnson for position. That's for 5th spot.
Well, look at this guy back here. Matt Kenseth down on the bottom side of a 3-wide battle.
That's not the kind of situation Matt Kenseth wants to be in, but he's having to put himself in that as he tries to battle back from being way back in the pack.
He has come from 31st position to 19th, and here comes the 11 car of Hamlin.
Kyle Busch's car extremely loose, and here comes Denny Hamlin for the lead.
It's like Denny's getting his car adjusted now. He's been pretty good all night long. We've seen him run right up against the wall, down on the bottom now. So Mike Ford doing a nice job of adjusting that for Denny.
And you see Jeff Gordon now moving back into the picture in the top 4 after kind of dialing himself out after that first pit stop. Steve Letarte and the crew have dialed him back in now.
These guys continue to run together here. 83, 42, and 9. They are 10th, 11th, and 12th position. Here's Casey Kane. Now looking to the inside of Montoya.
Yeah, and all 3 guys fighting, trying to get themselves situated in that top 12. So these guys are not only battling for tonight, but for the entire season. see Casey Kane's car. It looked like he was going to get a little bit loose there, but he did a nice job of hanging on to it and being able to stay beside Montoya.
Casey Kane's a former winner here at Atlanta. He has run really well in the spring, but he has been abysmal here in the fall races, finishing 30th or worse in 3 of the last 4 fall events at Atlanta. Just for some reason, this race doesn't suit Casey very well.
Well, he got really loose there with Joey Logano right up on his back bumper, too, as he was still on the inside of Montoya. You see, he lost quite a few car lengths to Montoya.
Kevin Harvick's got a great view of the 20 car, trying to make a move inside of Kane. That's Joey Logano. That is for position. That would be for 12th spot.
And I was watching Jeff Burton come off of turn 4 right now. I've seen him about 3 times now come off of there sideways, but he's hung on to it every time. I don't know how he's doing that. He's in the middle now.
He's about to get run over, and he almost got run over coming off turn 4, like you said. There comes Bobby Labonte in the picture in the 71 car, and he's having a great run so far tonight. This is actually about as far back as we've seen him. He's been in the top 20 most of the night.
569th consecutive start for Bobby Labonte, the 2000 Series champion. He is the winningest active driver at this racetrack. He's won 6 times. 5 of those wins have come on the new configuration racetrack. And Bobby, by the way, would have been out of the week this week because they had put a rookie in the 96 car, Eric Darnell, but they decided to let Bobby drive the 71 car. For 7 races here during the remainder of the season.
Here we got a change for 3rd place. Here comes Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson with a nice run on the outside. I think Jimmy Johnson is going to try to get both of these cars off of this corner through the middle, but it looks like Jeff Gordon's going to have the momentum.
Looks like Truex car struggling just a little bit.
Loose again.
Yeah, and I talked to a number of drivers that talked about that the sets of tires that, they didn't have any complaints with the tire, but that it went from set to set that their car would change without making any changes to the car itself. So that was a little bit of concern if they were going to see that throughout the night.
Tony Stewart trying to move in on this group as well. You see Jimmy Johnson now going downstairs and going around the 24 car of Jeff Gordon for 3rd position, and you can see the 14 car now trying to reel this group in.
And Jimmy's got a great car tonight too. I mean, he's been kind of up and down just a little bit, like you said, with those sets of tires, but he's overall had probably the strongest car. And Clint Boyer still struggling with this 33 car.
Yeah, he's really off the pace right now.
He had gotten the lucky dog to get back on the lead lap, and now being shown back up in 15th in the points, but really slow, and he will head to pit road.
Yeah, he must think he has a tire down or something.
Can't see one obviously down. Uh-oh, they're here now. It's got a loose wheel from the last pit stop.
And can't take any chances with that.
So this will cost him laps under the green flag. He was running back in 32nd position as the last car on the lead lap, and now he will lose at least a lap. Shannon.
Well, guys, this has been one awful night for Clint Boyer. The car has been horrible all night, loose all night. They've been making major changes, and just when it seemed like it was just coming to him, it started to get loose again, and now this, a loose wheel for Clint Boyer, looking to make the chase. This is not good for his chase hopes, guys.
It is hard to believe that all 3 RCR cars made the chase last year and the year before, and none of them probably will be in the chase this year.
Shows you how competitive this sport is. Lose just a little bit and you're out to lunch.
Coming into this race, Denny Hamlin was the only Joe Gibbs car in the chase. And there's the wheel that came off the 33 car. You can see where the wheel just began to wobble and sort of galled its way out around the studs.
Yeah, that's what they want to check for. They want to find which one it was, and they can see, we're here now, it's the left rear. They want to see which one it is that's elongated because those studs will get damaged after that wheel's been loose, and they want to make sure that they hammer those on that side to get them tight every time.
So troubles continue for Richard Childress Racing in the 33 car of Clint Boyer. Back up front, Denny Hamlin has become our 7th different leader. 10 lead changes here, lap 119 of 325. It's an ESPN college football Labor Day doubleheader. First at 4 Eastern time, it's a battle of Big East rivals as the Bearcats of Cincinnati take on the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers. Then at 8 Eastern time, we feature a Sunshine State rivalry as the Hurricanes of Miami face Bobby Bowden's Florida State Seminoles for Atlantic Coast Conference bragging rights. College football presented by Cars.com and college football primetime on ESPN tomorrow. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Couple of good ones on the gridiron and a good one going on here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Denny Hamlin, who's a big Virginia Tech fan, disappointed last night in the outcome of his Hokies against the Crimson Tide of Alabama. Got to be pleased with what's happening for him tonight as he is the leader here by about half a second over Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy Johnson, though, in that 48's been slowly reeling him in. Working the top side of the racetrack. You see Jimmy right there. Not all the way against the wall like we've seen some cars, but he's working that high lane pretty much.
But he's run down. He's made about a second and a half difference to get to close here and try to take this lead away. Now Carl Edwards back on the racetrack, Doc.
We mentioned he is back out 23 laps down, guys, in 39th position. If you just joined our coverage, Carl had a ruptured oil cooler and brought out the caution back on lap 82. Went to the garage area and had to have the oil cooler and the radiator replaced, now back out on the racetrack.
Yeah, Carl was hoping to lock himself into a spot tonight, but he's going to make for a tense week once again as we see Jimmy Johnson take the lead from Denny Hamlin.
Jimmy Johnson had led once earlier tonight for 12 laps and now reassumes the lead here on lap 127.
Denny's not ready to give that lead up quite yet. It's about a dead heat at the start-finish line, but I think Hamlin will be credited with leading that lap.
Well, we're seeing so many wide chassis changes just over a period of a few laps. Some guys will just go to junk. Others will get better and better over 5 or 10 laps.
Well, that's what you have when you have a track like this that has so little grip as you wear the tires. It's so abrasive on the tire. And when it does that, if you can, if your car is abusing one end or the other, your car can go away to teetotal junk in just a few laps. We've kind of seen that with Kyle Busch. He's been able to go fast for 5 or 6, 7 laps, but then he just goes off terribly loose. And now we don't even see him in the picture hardly here.
And Andy, one car that has come to life is the 88 car of Dale Earnhardt Jr. He had been on pit road. We mentioned they had the car up on jacks checking the toe in on the front of the car. And the last 5 or 6 laps, he has been flying.
They actually changed the toe. They had it jacked up and made a change to try to correct that, and it's really lit this car up. I mean, they have been coming straight to the front. He's been working the high lane earlier. Now you see him on the bottom. But that was a good move by that team to do that because they had to reach back at the tail end of the lead lap cars when they did it.
Yeah, he restarted back in 30th position, and right now he just moved into 14th spot.
Yeah, this is the line that he's used to make all of that time up, but he caught up to Brian Vickers, and he's kind of taking that lane away. But let's go to a replay and show you just a few laps ago.
He surprised this group right here by driving up on the outside of him and almost ran out of room. You see Ruderman and Ambrose get together there, try to stay out of his way.
Let's update more on the 88. Vince.
Well, the toe was just out of position just a bit, but they gave it a good look, made some adjustments, also made a wedge adjustment and air pressure. This car was bad fast in race trim and practice, so they expected a good night tonight. You see Lance McGrew there. He and Dale Jr. just had an interesting exchange on the radio, and Dale told him, "Don't talk to me while I'm in the corner." And Lance said, "You were talking to me while you were in the corner." And Dale just chuckled and said, "Yeah, but I'm the driver. I can talk to you wherever I want." That's always a good sign. When you're having fun on the radio, you know you've got a good race car. Caution on the track.
31 car coming down pit road, and we are being told debris up in turn 3 is the reason for the caution flag.
Here, and there's a vibration on Jeff Burton's car, and that's why he's coming down pit road. He is going to go down a lap as the leaders come by.
Yeah, and he actually almost beat Jimmy Johnson. That start-finish line stretches all the way across into the pits, but I believe that Jimmy Johnson still got there first and put Burton a lap down.
Some debris on the racetrack there. NASCAR has spotters out and take a look at it. You can't tell if it's rubber or plastic. You want to make sure it isn't metal.
And sometimes they say they'll see something on the track and they'll say, well, it's out of the groove. Well, tonight the groove runs from wall to wall.
That's right.
So they have to keep the track clean.
Yeah, if they can see it, then it's in the way.
It's in the groove.
The groove's from here to Marietta tonight. Fifth caution flag tonight. We've had 5 cautions total for 18 laps, 11 lead changes, 7 different drivers.
Andy, as a crew chief, it's kind of refreshing sometimes to come to a racetrack where you don't really have any decisions to make as far as tires go.
No, that's right, because you don't have to worry about, well, am I going to get 2, stay out? Every time the caution flag flies tonight, they're going to put 4 tires on.
You got to wonder if the 18 car will be good on pit road again.
Well, they've been solid tonight for sure. They got that first pit stall and they've taken advantage of it.
Dave?
Kyle Busch started that run as a leader. He fell back to 4th. He said, call me crazy, but maybe we make this loose car a little bit looser so I can drive it better. Track bar will go up, a little bit of air pressure in the right front to balance that out. Vince?
The 24 car of Jeff Gordon. Jeff says it's the best it's been all night through the center, but it's a little bit loose off, so they're going to make a slight air pressure adjustment and 4 fresh Goodyears. Jamie?
Jimmie Johnson's feedback has been incredible. He's saying he's inconsistent, though, through the center, but he was worried if they adjusted it with freed up too much, but they did make a track car adjustment, 4 tires, Shannon.
Right side air pressure and wedge adjustment for Denny Hamlin in the 11. He says it's just a little bit free, guys. Here we come. Race off pit road. Looks like the 24 got it.
Quickest stop of the night there by Jeff Gordon's bunch, 13.3 seconds. You see the result. He gains a couple of spots on pit road.
Boy, it started out great. You saw that right side. They were really fast on the right, got around there, made a great pit stop, and gets the lead off pit road.
Kurt Busch also gaining 4 positions there with the 2 car getting a job done. Well, let's go over the wall with Mark Hollywood Armstrong, who changed his tires for Robbie Gordon, who's back on the lead lap. And that's how they get it done in a hurry on pit road. Robbie Gordon, by the way, back in 26th position. And we told you it was the best pit stop of the night for Jeff Gordon. 13.3 seconds. Those guys know they got it done. They are tired of getting beat off pit road. And their driver, because of what they did, was the first off of pit road. Back to the restart in a moment. Back at Atlanta Motor Speedway, Jeff Gordon is our leader by virtue of great pit work. Now let's show the comparison on pit road here.
Yeah, here's 2 teams that are flat getting it done on pit road. Jeff Gordon getting the lead, his team getting the lead off pit road. You can see that left side, 3.1 seconds, finishing that stop up at 12.7. A second over Kyle Busch, who also gained a spot on pit road that time.
So crews responding to challenges on pit road, and Jeff Gordon, the 4-time winner at Atlanta, now being shown as a leader, and he will choose the outside lane here on the restart.
Yeah, we've seen different scenarios here as far as these drivers. I think they don't know exactly which one may be an advantage. If there is an advantage, I think it just totally depends on what the driver likes right now.
Couple of Chevys up high, couple Toyotas on the inside. We'll see who will get the advantage.
Even with new tires, it's hard to take off here. You have to really be careful not to spin the tires. Denny Hamlin looks like he's got this thing figured out on these restarts.
I think overall we've seen that inside lane get the advantage on the restarts.
Hamlin pulling Gordon by a couple of lengths now, make it 4 car lengths down the backstretch.
See Jimmie Johnson fighting back on the outside here. Get that 3rd spot away from Kyle Busch.
Seems like it takes Jimmie Johnson a few laps to kind of get that car corralled and aimed in the right direction before he starts making his way back to the front. He's been in a controlled slide really since the race started, but he's controlled that slide pretty well by driving it to the lead after they run a few laps on tires.
Give a call to Joey Logano. You see him on the right side of your screen there, moving in the 20 car. The 19-year-old rookie having a very good run here at Atlanta.
Yeah, he's doing an excellent job. His pit crew picked him up 4 spots on that last caution period there, so that's always nice. You see Montoya taking that spot away from him now.
3 of the top 6 are all Gibbs cars. They're having a great night overall as a team.
Looking back from Juan Pablo Montoya's Dodge Chevy, pardon me, after he took away the 6th position. And the 1 car up near the concrete, not sure if he got it, but he went all the way up against the wall, came very close.
Well, he's not the only one. I've seen a bunch of them up there tonight.
He's really falling back. He's back in the 17th spot. Somewhere he hasn't been all night. He's been up in the top 5 the entire night. See, right behind him is Matt Kenseth. His pit crew did a nice job. He had fallen back outside the top 20, but he's trying to battle back once again. They're still fighting some handling issues with that car.
Well, that could be the comeback of the night for Kenseth. Here comes Jeff Gordon, the 24 car, now trying to take the lead.
Oh, you hear the fans over there in turn 3 cheering Jeff on. He gets it done, gets the pass made off of turn 4.
There's the 29 car of Kevin Harvick, who was in the top 10 when he came on the pit road a moment ago and had some issues on pit road, and now being shown back in 14th position.
He's coming forward. He's actually had a pretty decent car all night. It's not that he's been up in the top 5 battling, but he's been working his way up here.
He's got a good view of Junior up there against the wall. I mean, you can't hardly put a piece of paper between that 88 car and the wall.
Harvick probably like to take his Nationwide car from last night and race these boys as bad as that thing was, huh?
That thing was so fast last night.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. finishing 3rd here in the NASCAR Nationwide Series race behind Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch.
Once again, see David Stremme in this mix also. He's having a really good night as he takes the spot away from Casey Kane. We're trying to take the spot away.
Yeah, Stremme is hung in the top 15 much of the night, and up front they continue to swap back and forth. Jeff Gordon, Denny Hamlin, and now Hamlin goes all the way down to that yellow line and bobbles a little bit.
That bottom lane is very, very bumpy. That's why it's so hard to stay down there.
Yeah, you really have to, when you're entering turn 1, you try to drive outside of those bumps so it doesn't upset the car too much. Then you really get some bumps as you come out of turn 2. There's not a lot of bumps up there where Junior's running. There are some spots that you can see that car really loose. He's really driving this car, doing a great job.
It's rolling over and spinning out off a little bit.
See, down in turn 1 and 2, he goes back to the bottom of the racetrack. See, things kind of reversed.
Whoa, man, that thing's out of control, though.
Here comes Mark Martin on the move.
Taking the 6th spot from Tony Stewart is Martin. See in front of him, there's the 42 of Montoya up in 5th.
Both those guys doing exactly what they need to do tonight. Good, solid runs. They don't want to have to just fight all night at Richmond next Saturday night to get themselves situated in the chase. Montoya and Mark both well in the top 10 here.
If Mark Martin were to get into the chase, and he should be right now, he could be the #1 seed with his 4 wins if Kyle Busch does not make it. Jeff Gordon, our leader, back in a moment.
Jeff Gordon leading not quite to halfway of tonight's NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Gordon out in front of Denny Hamlin, Jimmy Johnson, Juan Pablo Montoya, and Mark Martin, your top 5. Right behind them in 6th position is Kyle Busch, who has been out in front of this event on a few different occasions tonight, 3 times for 24 laps. Kyle, one of the guys fighting for a place in the chase. He started this race just outside the cut in that race to the chase, and we're going to award our Gillette in the clutch moment move tonight to Kyle Busch's pit crew, because 3 different times in this race he's come down pit road not leading, and he's gone out of pit road with the #1 spot.
Oh, man, everybody's got to have a pit crew, and that is such a good feeling for a driver to be running good in a racetrack and don't give it up on pit road, and they've been helping him out all night long.
To find out how your favorite athletes prepare for success, go to ESPN.com and search Locker Room Report. Right now, though, Kyle Busch falling back a little bit in this stretch of the race. He's back to 8th position. Let's go up to speed and update some of those contenders for those final spots in the chase for the Sprint Cup. We'll start with Jamie Little at Juan Pablo Montoya's pit.
Well, you guys just mentioned him. He has come to life. He's been kind of hovering around the 10th place position, but his car, they have been adjusting track bar adjustment. He said it's better. He just needs a little more forward bite. This is his favorite car. They call it the Indy car, Vince.
Well, the 5 car Mark Martin is running 5th. Atlanta, one of the toughest challenges for crew chief Alan Gustafson. High-speed track, low grip, new tire, the unknown of night racing. He said you can really miss here and have a miserable night, but they haven't missed. To Gustafson's credit, Mark Martin is running 5th.
And Brian Vickers right now running 7th, and he too is coming to life. They've been adjusting, making air pressure and wedge every single stop. He finished 5th here in the spring, but they opted to bring a different car, and so far it's working out for him. But in the points, he's currently 14. Dave?
Kyle Busch runs back in the 8th position now. His issue has mostly, actually it's been all over the place. He actually wants them to check the track bar height when they get back to the shop. They've been mostly down on it, up just a little. He thinks something's a little wrong with it right now. He's still 13th in the points as they run right now. Now Casey Kane is 10th in the championship right now. He's in, but trying to hang on. His car has been mostly loose all night long, but he's also had a brake issue. He says, I've hardly been on them, but every once in a while, it just goes to the floor, and that is disconcerting. Vince?
Well, the 17 of Matt Kenseth comes into this race 12th in points on the bubble. He says, Drew Blickensderfer, the crew chief, says that there is definitely stress on this team, and the crew guys have felt it, but he's trying to talk to his pit crew guys about don't be tense about it, because we don't want to make mistakes on pit lane because of the fact that we are indeed wrapped up in the tension of being in the chase. Now, the 39 car of Ryan Newman came into this race 7th in points. Pretty solid, 84 points up on 13th place Kyle Busch. They came here with a brand new car, and Ryan Newman said he felt good. Obviously, they're here to win. Those valuable points of winning races would come in handy at the chase. Dave?
Vince, Greg Biffle has had a bad night. They had a bad practice session. Their car has not gotten any better. Mostly loose. They started the day 8th in the points. They have fallen to 11th. They've not been able to get that car right, and at times Greg had just said, I can hardly drive the thing. Doc?
A lot of issues for Greg Biffle, and not a good time to be having issues here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Now, that was an update on the drivers who are in the bubble, or as far as trying to get into the chase up front. The guy they're chasing on the racetrack, Jeff Gordon. Remember, earlier in the year, it was Jeff Gordon who snapped a 47-race winless streak on a 1.5-mile racetrack in Texas. He's on a 1.5-mile track here tonight. Here are the current standings for the AT&T Fastest Pit Crew of the Year. Points are accumulated by the team who wins a race by fan voting and by an ESPN pick. And you see right now Jeff Gordon leads Earnhardt Jr., Stewart, and Matt Kenseth. You can make your pick for the AT&T Fastest Pit Crew of the Year by texting the car number for the pit crew you think is fastest and most valuable in each race to 2258. Standard messaging rates do apply. Jeff Gordon is a leader here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. It is Hamlin in second. And this 88 car of Dale Earnhardt Jr. has been on the move, and he is coming in a hurry.
He's in the top 5, and he's just past Jimmy Johnson. He was working the outside of the racetrack, I mean, way up against the wall, coming like a freight train and past a ton of cars. And then he finally gets up here and he starts working the bottom a little bit. But here's another car that's been flying.
How about Kevin Harvick, DJ? He came out of the pits in 15th position, and he is picking them off one by one. He's now all the way up to 3rd spot.
And just driving the same line that he ran last night when he dominated the nationwide race. He's got this car hooked up on the bottom of the racetrack. And he is coming. He's been 4 5/10 faster than the leader here most laps recently.
Best run Kevin Harvick has had in probably a month and a half. He only has 2 top 5 finishes all year. He had a 2nd at Daytona and a 4th here at Atlanta back in the spring.
I was talking to Richard Childress earlier today, and he felt like that he and Harvick had kind of got on the same page. Been a lot of stuff out there. Was Kevin leaving? Was he staying for next year? He assured me Kevin's obviously staying there for next year, and they got a lot of things worked out as we come to the halfway point of this race, but he felt like they were really going to have a solid night.
It's amazing how when you can clear the cobwebs and get everybody on the same page with the meeting he had this week with Childress and the whole organization, that things tend to improve on the racetrack.
Yeah, and as we said, look at these speeds, Andy. They talk about that, how things have fallen off, but the biggest thing is Kevin Harvick's car is not falling off as bad as Jeff Gordon and Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, you can see on lap 162, he's almost 3 miles an hour faster than Jeff Gordon. So his car is really hooked up now, and it's finally, you know, Harvick really likes the bottom of the racetrack, and he worked it to perfection last night. And it's taken him a while this race to get his car to do what he really wants it to do, to try to run that same line and be as effective as he was last night. You see, he's right below that yellow line, Harvick is.
Here's a battle for 8th position. Juan Pablo Montoya in the 42, and he will lose that spot to the 00 of David Rudiman.
Yeah, this is really Rudiman's first time into the top 10 tonight, but he's made a nice run, made some adjustments on his car, and got it where he's got a lot more speed to it. So good to see David Rudiman up in the top 10.
Rudiman has gained a spot in the point standings. He's now being shown 147 back of 12th position.
Boy, it's really tightened up front. You see Hamlin's already caught the 24 again, and here comes that 29. He's going to blow right by both of these guys.
You can see Gordon's really started to struggle here. His car was fast there for about 25, 30 laps, and now he's starting to fall off some. Denny Hamlin's making his way back to him. Don't know if he's going to get the lead back before Kevin Harvick passes him, though.
Gotta believe Kevin Harvick is hungry to lead a lap. He has led only one race all year long. That was 9 laps at Las Vegas. None since.
That's a long dry spell for Harvick.
There's Hamlin taking the lead back as they get to turn 1. But Kevin Harvick is really moving, Jamie.
Well, I'll tell you, a lot of confidence going to victory lane last night. He actually learned a lot of things. He told me some things he learned last night that he could put into this race tonight. What was that? Well, they made adjustments last night, anticipating some changes. They didn't work. They ended up going back to how they started the race. That's exactly what they've done tonight. They didn't make any changes the last 2 stops. He knows what's going to happen with this racetrack. It's working out. The last stop, though, they dropped the lug, went back a little bit, but he is on fire. Vince?
For the 24, Jeff Gordon, as you see him right there in the mix of that threesome for the battle for the lead. Gordon says the car is loose off, and obviously the positions are starting to fall away from him as Hamlin and Harvick have gone by. But Steve Letarte, very calm on the radio, the crew chief, telling Gordon, hey, we just passed the halfway point in the race and the halfway point on these tires. We got a long way to go. Hang in there, be patient. We're good. We'll be back. You got to believe that Gordon's car, the way it's been tonight, they will be.
See the 83 now moving into the picture. Brian Vickers. We talked about how he was trying to get into the chase. 39 points out heading into the night, and now the 83 car being shown just 8 points back of being in the top 12. There is Brian Vickers, and what a run he has had the last 7 or 8 races.
It really has, and even tonight he made a real run at the beginning of the race, but then he kind of fell back. Looked like they made some wrong adjustments, but they've made the right ones now as you see him trying to take that 3rd spot away from Jeff Gordon.
I'll tell you, this run by Harvick is still amazing. Since the restart, he has gained 17 positions to take the lead. I mean, he has really got his car rolling. A great battle for second.
Oh, right up against the wall. He takes that 2nd spot away. And as of right now, if things quit, he would have himself in that 12th spot in the chase. So he's doing exactly what he's had to do, race his way in there. And they've made the adjustments, and Brian Vickers doing a great job.
Brian Vickers has never made the chase. This is the 6th year in NASCAR's playoff format. It's going to be a landmark year for him, coming off the great runs he's had the last 5 or 6 weeks in a row. While these cars are moving toward the front, one car that's been really struggling and starting to drop back a little bit is Jimmy Johnson here in the 48.
This is by far the worst run for Jimmy. Oh my gosh, look at that car get sideways. I don't know how he holds on to that.
Yeah, I think this is going back, and we see Vickers going forward. We see Harvick going forward, Jimmy Johnson going backwards. We're just seeing, I think, it's the different sets of tires these guys put on, and probably the racetrack changing a little bit as it's even cooling down more. We see David Stremme trying to take that 10th spot away from Jimmy Johnson right now.
Yeah, David Stremme having a good solid run tonight.
$172 laps in the books here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, so we are past the halfway mark. Jimmy Johnson struggling a little bit, and it is this guy, Kevin Harvick, that is looking like the Kevin Harvick of old. As Harvick came out of pits in 15th position and is now being shown as our leader. Well, Carl Edwards, David Reagan, and Matt Kenseth are all driving the all-new 2010 Ford Taurus, and you could be too. Go to I'mDrivingOne.com to hear what the stars of Ford racing have to say and register to win your own 2010 Ford Taurus. Past the halfway point, NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Atlanta, presented by Pennzoil. Here is Kevin Harvick, our leader. Brian Vickers in 2nd spot. Denny Hamlin is 3rd. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. is like a rocket all of a sudden. He goes to the top of the track and to the bottom and back to the top. But he is coming in a hurry.
He's coming to the front, but he's having to wheel this car. He's been sideways numerous times.
You see just how close he is there. You hear him working the throttle as he tries to get through the center of the corner and on the exit.
all the drivers are earning their keep tonight.
Yeah, this is a hard race. This is a long, hard 500 miles at this racetrack, especially whenever you've got the car sliding around this much, Vince.
Well, this is an example of teamwork. As you see the guy behind the wheel getting a lot of credit tonight, but this team has worked from the shop right to the racetrack to get this particular race car ready. It's a brand new car. First time it was on the track was this weekend, and Lance McGrew was very excited to see the performance that it would put forth tonight. McGrew, the crew chief, he says that they have seen results in this team improve, although you haven't really seen it on the scoreboard, despite the fact they were third at Michigan, ninth at Bristol. But he says we've been a lot better for a while now, but the results are just starting to show. And I'll tell you what, Dale Jr.'s smiling a lot more too when you see him, and a confident driver always helps. Hey, he probably wasn't smiling when the back end just got free there, was he?
He's probably smiling after it didn't spin out, I'll guarantee you. But man, he's doing his job, and just goes to show you, a lot of people out here were questioning Junior, his commitment and driving ability and all of that, as we watch him really work at throttle through there. But
look at
Junior's
this.
showing he can get the job done. There's our pole sitter getting lapped by Kevin Harvick.
That's this car. That one car has just fell off the map the last few laps.
Yeah, hard to believe Martin Truex, who led 3 times for 68 laps, has suddenly gotten so bad. Let's listen in.
So loose. The guy got flat rear tires. Got no rear grip at all. None. Zero. Reckon getting in a corner and plowing in the middle. I don't know. Something's wrong with the car. The only way to fix it, I think, is to stop and start over. I can't figure it out.
Guys, they did make a track bar in that last pit stop, track bar adjustment to try to help the handling, but this car is just bad. They're thinking about coming down pit road about lap 187 to try to get it fixed up for Martin Truex Jr., but he is hanging on out there.
Hanging on is the key word. That's just, man, you get this thing there. Look how loose the race car is. We talk about everybody being loose, but that car is just ready to wreck.
Man.
And this car ran in the top 5 all night long until this particular run, and now he's gotten lapped.
And the 48 also just barely hanging on, DJ. He has been sideways the last 2 times he's come off the corner.
Now, this is one of the longest green flag runs we've had. They're going to actually have to make a green flag pit stop here in the next 10 laps.
How much slower he is than Kevin Harvick. 5 miles an hour slower that last lap than what Kevin Harvick, our leader.
The fastest lap tonight is about 30.5 seconds, and we see 34-second laps now, so the times have really fallen off. Jamie?
Well, let's see if we can assess this, Andy. Before the last pit stop, Jimmy Johnson came in and he said, okay, I need some rear grip. So he pitted, put 4 tires on it, but they made a wedge adjustment and a track bar adjustment. Now he says the car is just tight, and then it gets snappy loose on him. You don't agree with that, do you, Andy?
Well, I just saw the changes they made. They made a track bar adjustment. They actually lowered the track bar and took wedge out of the car. And, you never know what's going to work and what's not. You just have to try it and see. And obviously this is not working, and Chad Canals cannot wait to get this car back in the pit stall to undo some of that.
And what they did could make the car do exactly what they're talking about. Tight in the center with the track bar down. Doesn't allow the car to turn as good. But you've got wheel in it, and then with the wedge out, you're losing grip on the exit of the corner. So they're probably going to go back on that and possibly even go the other way. We've known Chad Canals to go 3 or 4 rounds the other way just to see if that fixes it.
See, now you see Jeff Gordon struggling. Now Greg Biffle's on pit road. Dave?
And he was running in about the 24th position, trying to short pitch just a little bit. Reed Sorensen on pit road just in front of him. For Biffle, the car's still loose. They will take a rubber out of the left rear, however, but they will put wedge into the left rear to try to make this car better for Greg. This is about where he struggled all night, mid-20s, after qualifying 26. It's been a long night.
Well, that's the thing. You're going to try a lot of things, different combinations. You're going to do things unconventional things because the cars are just so out of control. Here comes Truex, man. He's ready to get something done with this car.
Oh, these drivers are ready to get on pit road and get some fresh tires and just have a little bit of relief. And hopefully their crew chiefs are going to make something that makes it, or do something to their car that makes it feel better.
Finally coming down. Let's go down to Shannon.
Well, it is going to be a chassis adjustment for the one car. They have got to tighten them up. Martin Truex Jr. can hardly hang on to this car. You see that wrench in the back window. It's also going to be 4 tires. He said he felt like he had no air pressure in those rear tires. That's how loose he was, just sliding all over the racetrack. Started off with a great car, Vince.
The 17 of Matt Kenseth. Remember, he came in on 12th on the bubble, and they've had adjust on that car all night long. A little little bit loose. 4 tires and an air pressure adjustment. Shannon.
Tony Stewart also not happy with the car. He said he felt like he had a tire out of balance. He said it wasn't loose, just out of balance. It was messing up his world. 4 tires for the 14 car, guys.
18 of Kyle Busch is on pit road. That car loose. They will make air pressure adjustments for Kyle as they go around to the left side. That'll be a 4 tire stop, packet full of fuel, and they'll put a spring rubber into the left rear to try to tighten that car up. Vince.
The 39 car of Ryan Newman. His car has been inconsistent throughout the course of the night. A little tight here, a little loose there. He said he didn't like that last set of tires, so they gave him 4 fresh tires. Dave.
Casey Kane is in just a tick down on the track bar, just a little bit loose. Casey had been running in the 8th position. This crew going to work now on the left side. They finish up as we go back to Vince.
The 24 car of Jeff Gordon, he said he just felt like it was plain worn out. He said it's loose and tight. They're making an air pressure adjustment to give him some more comfort. Jamie.
And Jimmy Johnson was having all those problems. You see the wrench in the back. They are going back on those changes from the last pit stop. 4 tires. See if this is going to help for Jimmy, but they're taking a long time on that left side. Now he's down and away, Vince.
The 5 car of Mark Martin has been real strong tonight, running up around the top 5. He told his team, don't overdo it. The car is okay. Let's see what happens. 4 tires and fuel, a little bit of an air pressure adjustment for the 5 car of Mark Martin. Shannon.
Well, I'm sure it doesn't surprise you to hear that the Denny Hamlin is loose. They're going to make chassis adjustment, track bar, and wedge. 4 tires for the number 11 car. This team had such a great run going. The car is just loosening up. Jamie.
And your leader, Kevin Harvick, walked him up coming in. He came in hot. Second time this year. He has led laps here again. No changes. He's so happy with this car. You see him there going around to the left side, putting 4 tires on, filling it up with Sunoco fuel.
The 6 car, David Reagan, coming down. He is a pass-through penalty for being too fast on pit road. There's a 21 car of David Gilliland, who has had a good run for the Wood brothers. Vickers in. Jamie.
Well, they finally got this car the way he likes it, and that is loose all the way through the corner, so no adjustments for Brian Vickers. It's 4 tires, and guys, he did get those bonus points for leading the lap there.
Every point is so critical. Vickers getting those bonus points, and the 31 car also a pass-through penalty.
Yeah, we're seeing a few penalties, and a lot of cars having a trouble getting on pit road and getting the car slowed down. When they lose so much grip in these tires, they just can't hardly get the car slowed down to get on pit road.
You see Harvick a minute ago, he really jammed those brakes on trying to get this car woed down from 170 miles an hour.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't blow the left front tire out right here as hard as he was on the brakes. Sliding that left front, trying to get down to pit road speed.
Yeah, he was doing everything he could, downshift and everything.
The 6 car wasn't so lucky. Watch David Reagan hit the commitment cone there coming in.
Yep. And he's trying to get back down pit road here. He just about misses the whole pit road.
Second time was the penalty stop when he was trying to come in, and I still almost missed pit road.
Boy, that's frustrating.
David trying to hustle the car to be able to make up some time here at the home racetrack. Kevin Harvick having the kind of night he hasn't had in a long time. Harvick's last win, he got to go back 2 years ago at Daytona in the 500.
Dari Noke in studio while you enjoy the Sprint Cup Series at Atlanta on ESPN. Just a reminder, over on ESPN2, the Dodgers and the Padres, LA, Sunday Night Baseball. LA trailing this one 4-1 in the 6th. Should the Dodgers lose their lead over the Rockies, and the NL West would be down to 3.5 games. We'll keep you posted on this one. SportsCenter coming up after your race.
So while the Padres try to outshine their division rivals, the Dodgers in baseball, Kevin Harvick's trying to outshine all those guys who are going to race for the championship in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. We welcome you back to Atlanta. Our coverage tonight presented by Pennzoil. Harvick, after the recent round of green flag pit stops, has a 5.6 second lead on second place Denny Hamlin. Kevin Harvick has had, at best, a difficult year in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. He's not going to make the run for the championship, but this this night, he's certainly outshining all those guys who are fighting for those playoff spots.
Yeah, and it gives him a great opportunity to build some momentum with this race team. As DJ touched on earlier, a lot of different things going on, a lot of rumors and innuendos. This shows that this team is capable of running up front and having an opportunity to win races. And so it's good to see this for RCR, as well as Matt Kenseth, who I said earlier was in a lot of trouble. Guys, he's in 9th spot. He and Drew Blickensderfer have worked their rear ends off and got it back together.
Let's show you those standings in the race for the chase. Remember that we came into this race with 9 drivers fighting for the final 6 spots. And you see the plus minus, the change in position on the night. And look how close the point totals are as well.
Boy, you've got that right. Take a look at Greg Biffle, though. Now he's down to 12th, and he just got lapped on the racetrack a little while ago by Kevin Harvick. So he's a little bit of trouble right now, a little nervous ground right there.
Hey, guys, you only showed the 7th, up to 6 now. Carl Edwards had trouble. I mean, we're talking 83 points difference from 8th or from 6th now to 12th. This thing is getting tighter and tighter and tighter.
And like we said at this, trouble, Jimmy Johnson. How about that? We saw him sliding and struggling back earlier. Yeah, this time he just actually spun.
Not a scratch, though. Look at that, huh?
Not yet. No, I'm okay, I think, for right now. That was me spinning.
10-4. Nice and slow, bud.
So Jimmy Johnson goes for a spin and brings out caution number 6 on the night. And let's go upstairs to Doc, DJ, and Andy. No drama about the pit stops here, huh, Andy?
No, they're going to come get 4 more out. But, man, we have seen Jimmy Johnson spinning this car out all night. Finally, it's out there far enough.
And now you're just loose, right?
Now it just went out there far enough to bring the caution out. It's loose.
Chad definitely going to believe him now.
He'll believe him.
Yeah. You know it's a tough night when a champ.
The front end feels really alive for some reason. I don't know why it started so tight the last run, and now it's doing this. I can't explain that.
Huh. He was saying that his car actually started out really tight the last time with the adjustments.
So what happened is Jimmy Johnson looked way ahead there out in front of Carl Edwards onboard cameras.
Yeah, you can see he just gets sideways.
Right here in front of you. Green is still out.
Does a great job not to hit anything.
He went from the top all the way to the apron. Didn't lose a whole lot of spots right there. That's pretty good.
Started thinking,
well, he's been doing it all night. He's been sliding sideways
Brad
all night.
says they've been wrecking all night. That's pretty good, Brad.
Yeah, he wins the drifting competition here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, sideways.
I'll give him a 9 on that one.
Well, when you win championships and things, you do things like that, you know, and sometimes you look at it and say, well, we were pretty lucky there, but Jimmy Johnson, with his skill, was able to hang on to that car, not hit anything. And they'll still be back with a chance to have a chance at winning this race probably before these next 124 laps are over.
Well, they made an adjustment. They made an adjustment on the car. They came back and undid the adjustment, and the car still has issues on the racetrack.
Yeah, he's still got plenty of time to get that car dialed in. Chad Knaus does.
Kevin Harvick coming down pit road, as are the other leaders. Dave.
Casey Kane gives up 5th. The car was just a little bit loose. Half down on the track bar, half down on the left rear wedge. 0.2 of a pound of air pressure out of the right rear. Vince?
Dale Jr. says something that you don't hear too much on the radios tonight. The car is pretty comfortable. Don't do too much with it. 4 fresh tires, and away he'll go. Jamie?
Kevin Harvick loving this car. He's raced it 4 of the last 6 races. Finished 6th at the Brickyard. Tonight it's on fire. 4 tires, fuel, no changes once again. Shannon?
Denny Hamlin says the car is still a little bit loose. They're going to go half round down on the track bar, 4 tires, and race off pit road, guys.
Well, that is a close one. Watch them coming off pit road there. 3 wide, almost 4 wide. And Harvick and Hamlin were very, very close. Harvick had momentum. Hamlin was trying to get the car up to speed. You see Earnhardt Jr. gaining a spot, as did Casey Kane. Vickers losing 2 positions.
See, Jeff Gordon's team still getting it done on pit road, trying to help his cause. Man, this is tight right here now. Harvick nips him.
So Kevin Harvick, for only the 2nd time this year, leading a race in NASCAR Sprint Cup competition. And not good news for Tony Stewart. We're being told that they are missing a lug nut. They're going to have to come back on pit road.
That's a costly mistake right here. You see him struggling trying to get it back on, and the jackman let the car down, and the front tire changer just could not get that nut back up on there.
So Tony will come back in. The good news is he's the points leader and already secured in the chase, but wanted to have a good run here at Atlanta. Back with a restart here in just a moment.
A lot of action on a full moon Sunday night in Hotlanta. And it's not the end of the motorsports coverage on the ESPN networks. We'll wrap up the race tonight on NASCAR Now, 11:30 Eastern, ESPN2. And then Monday, Labor Day, the Mac Tools NHRA U.S. Nationals presented by Lucas Oil, the Daytona 500 of drag racing. Indianapolis, Monday, 1 Eastern Time, ESPN2. Next weekend for NASCAR, Richmond, Virginia. Friday night, the Nationwide Series at 7 Eastern on ESPN2. And the race that'll determine who makes the chase, the NASCAR Sprint Cup Chevy Rock and Roll 400. That's on ABC next Saturday night at 7 Eastern Time. We are working caution number 6 here in Atlanta. We are just past the 300-mile mark of this race. Kevin Harvick has dominated the last 100 miles or so. Harvick going out in front for the first time in this race at lap 168 and holding the lead on a set of pit stops. Now, we talked about Tony Stewart having some troubles and missing a lug nut on his pit stop. When he came back in to get that replaced, it wasn't all that smooth as well.
No, he slid through the pits. Let's take a look right here. There he goes across that white line. You got to push that car back, because if you don't, it's a penalty if you put that lug nut on. He's looking good now. He's got to start from the back. Shannon?
Well, Darian Grubb and this team, a couple of bad weeks on pit road and in the race itself, but I know you guys are really optimistic. How optimistic are you that you guys can rebound from this latest one?
Yeah, we're fine. We were top 5. We had a bad set of tires that took us all the way back to about 16th or 17th. So Tony was able to race his way back up into the top 10. And we had a missing lug nut there, so we had to come back in. So it's not a big deal. We came back from 2 laps down here last time to finish 8th, so Tony will be fine.
All right, guys, they are locked into the chase, and he's a 2-time champion, so they can certainly get it done. Vince?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. having a good run with crew chief Lance McGrew. You guys haven't had to work on the car too much. How about your driver? What kind of conditions he in here with about 100 to go?
Well, he's a night owl, so he's just getting warmed up, I believe. So no, I tell you what, the car's been great all night. The National Guard Chevrolet has been awesome. We got 358,000 troops around the world riding with us each and every lap, and the car's been good. So we're just doing a little bit of air pressure tweaks, and hopefully we can bring this thing home.
And one of those National Guardsmen up on the box with Lance McGrew tonight. Jamie?
And Gil Martin is the crew chief for our leader, Kevin Harvick. Gil, how do you explain this resurgence? Second time you guys have led, but you guys are leading in dominant fashion.
Well, I've been needing to say this for a while. The Shell Pennzoil Chevrolet is running good tonight. But all kidding aside, our finishes hadn't reflected how we've been running the last few weeks. I mean, you look at how we finished, and it looks like we've been running terrible, but we actually haven't. We've been in a lot of crashes and stuff. But we're about to get this train back on the tracks, and that's what we've been needing to do for a long time. But he's just good here at Atlanta, too. And I think the night lends to his driving style right here, because he can keep the car camped out on the bottom. The wall is not actually working like it normally does here in the daytime. So the bottom of the racetrack is where he needs to be.
Well, no adjustments the last few stops. Are going to stick with the plan and see if they can hold on to victory lane tonight.
There's Dale Earnhardt Jr. on the inside there for the restart. Let's listen into his radio.
All right, how many laps is this race? Got 122 more. We've been 203, so 325. I thought it was about 260 or something like that. Well, it's nighttime, so you shouldn't be ready to go to bed. Ready to go to bed, but this is a slick track, 325 laps. And for it, bud, get you something to drink. We need you for the next 122. I'm good. I'm good.
That's what we want to hear.
Oh, he's ready to rock and roll. He's waited a long time. It's been 45 races back to Michigan, June of 2008, says Dale Earnhardt Jr. Went to victory lane, and he is hungry.
He says, I'm good.
And also a guy who's pretty darn hungry, too. Kevin Harvick, 95 races since he last won the Daytona 500 back in 2007. He leads him down for the green flag.
And he chooses that outside lane. See Denny Hamlin spin the tires just a little bit on the inside. There's Casey Kane back up there. Casey gets a nice run off of turn 2.
See Earnhardt Jr. moving up. The 18 there is Kyle Busch, now trying to slide down to the inside.
He's trying to do that. Casey Kane takes the lead from Kevin Harvick.
And Kenseth moved Kyle Busch just a little bit there. Kenseth's made a nice recovery. I'm just so impressed of how they've recovered here after hitting the wall early and just totally out the lunch the first run.
The 17 car was back in 31st position at one time.
Yeah, and barely able to run 31st.
Looks like he might get moved back here by Kyle. He didn't like that little move.
Brian Vickers coming in behind Kyle Busch. And the 18 car of Kyle Busch gaining 5 positions in 1 lap. Still battling side by side for 6th spot.
Well, he's had a fast race car for about 10 laps, as Andy documented earlier. We'll see if they've got it fixed to where it'll run a little bit longer than that.
Now he can make that thing fly for about 10, maybe 15 laps on the outside, but then it just goes off loose and he can't keep up. But he's making the most of these fresh tires right now.
Kenseth tried to move back to the inside. Here comes Vickers trying to make it 3 wide.
Wow. Check this out. Vickers gets the advantage.
Here comes Mark Martin back on the inside of the 18. A big-time battle for the bubble here. Remember, just one more race to go. Who's going to get in the chase? And these guys here battling 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. More on the 18 car. Dave.
And it's been really tough for Kyle to help diagnose what it is about his race car that they can try to fix. The main issue is entering the corner too free, but once it gets in there, too tight. So that's the problem. How do you fix both sides of that? And that has been their issue all night.
There's Robbie Gordon, as we see. Had a pretty good night. He's in the 12th spot right now, battling Montoya for that spot. He at one time was a lap down in this race, but battled his way back.
And Montoya's been basically up and down all night. He's been up in the top 5, and now we see him outside the top 10, but he's had an up and down night.
And Robbie Gordon running 2 races in the same day, an off-road championship race up at Crandon, Wisconsin earlier today. That was shown on ABC. And then coming all the way to Atlanta to run the NASCAR Sprint Cup event.
Yeah, Jimmy Johnson's 48 car trying to get his mojo back after dialing it out the last run.
And when they rolled off of pit road, Paul Menard had come on the pit road at the beginning of the race to have the hood up on the 98 car. Now he has come all the way back to 16th position. Paul making his 100th career Sprint Cup start here tonight.
Yeah, they looked like they were going to have an engine problem at the beginning of this race, maybe a plug wire off or something like that, but whatever it was, it's obviously been fixed. He had to start at the rear of the field and he's done a nice job. This guy's doing a nice job too. Casey Kane, like he was shot out of a cannon in this restart.
Just over 100 laps to go here at Atlanta Motor Speedway under the lights on a Labor Day weekend. Denny Hamlin running 3rd in his Toyota. Jeff Gordon is 2nd in the Chevy, and they're all chasing Casey Kane.
107 laps to go. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Atlanta, presented by Pennzoil on ESPN. Casey Kane back out in front. Kind of a big lead, about 2 seconds on Denny Hamlin. Kevin Harvick, 2.5 seconds back in 3rd. Remember, Kane was up front early in the race, then fell back in the pack. Wasn't really worth much in the center section of the race that we've run so far. Now here he is back at the front, and we've seen this pattern for a while in the night. Remember Jeff Gordon up front in the back, now working his way toward the front. Harvick, unbeatable last segment of the race. Now he's slipping back. Can you explain how this happens?
Well, I don't know, really, as a driver, I've seen this happen before, and generally what happens, it's always the tire. Look, they got a good durable tire here tonight. Goodyear has no doubt about that. But this is the first time they've run this particular tire at this night race. They did not run this tire the first race. And so some of the drivers are complaining about some inconsistency, and I really think that's what you're seeing right here. I mean, you look at Martin Truex up front, now he's in the back. I believe it's happening like that, guys.
Yeah, have you seen this tonight? We've heard the crew chiefs talk about it. Every time they bolt on 4 fresh tires in this race car, it seems to give them a different feel. We heard Steve Letarte saying earlier, they jacked so much wedge in the car, they don't know if they're putting it in or taking it out because there's been so many rounds on the track bar. It seems like every time they switch to a fresh set of tires, they have a different problem and they can't quite figure it out.
That's right, guys. And besides that, we have seen small adjustments make a big difference at high-speed places on this new race car.
So you saw Kevin Harvick take 2nd from Denny Hamlin. Here comes Dale Jr. trying to get the 5th spot away from Jeff Gordon. Got a little company there from Mark Martin.
Everybody's driving these cars. I mean, look at his hands in that race car. I mean, it's just like they're on black ice out there on the race
driving them cars. That's what they're paid to see. Drive them cars.
That's what they're paid to do, baby. It's a 4-wheel drift all the way around 1.5 miles here in Atlanta.
All right. So Junior to 4th, Mark Martin to 5th. Jeff Gordon gets kicked back to 6th position. Now let's look a little bit deeper, just outside of the top 10. We've talked a lot about some of the Chase Bubble guys tonight. We've talked about some of the guys running up front. What about some of the other guys in the field just outside the top 10, Dave?
And who won the race in March and led 234 laps? Well, it wasn't David Stremme, but it was his teammate Kurt Busch, and that's where they started baseline setup for this car this weekend, and it is run in and outside the top 10
through the field. Car was loose. They made some chassis adjustments, and now it's come alive. Vince?
The youngest Cup winner ever, Joey Logano. Not a winning setup tonight, but they have been good. They've been tweaking on the car each and every stop, and Joey has been getting better lap after lap after lap. He started 34th, currently running 16th. It's been a good night for the 20 team. An inexperienced driver, but a very experienced crew making a difference tonight. Jamie?
And in the 71, a new face, Bobby Labonte. He got a ride with this team. He'll be in this car for 7 races this season, and that keeps that consecutive streak alive. 569 car is good. He says it's a little bit tight. Behind him, Kurt Busch. Now, he brought back the same car he dominated here in the spring with. Similar setup, but with a different tire and night conditions. It hasn't worked out great. They made some big changes on the last stop, took out some spring rubbers. Now he's hanging there 15th to 20th. Dave?
Reed Sorensen having a pretty good run tonight. His car did start out loose, but it's been tight on the last few runs. On this last stop, they just took 4 tires with a slight air pressure adjustment as he battles that low line. Now behind him, 16 of Greg Biffle, who has been fighting all night to try to keep this car in the chase. He's lost positions, or in chase contention, that is. On this last stop, they pulled a shim out of the right front suspension. They also made a wedge adjustment. The car was very, very loose. He was also the lucky dog that time, so he is back on the lead lap. Vince?
Ryan Newman currently running 21st, and remember, even though he was in a pretty solid position, 7th in points, he was just 84 ahead of 13th place. They weren't feeling all that secure, but felt if they just had a good solid night, they'd be okay heading to Richmond next week. Shannon?
Well, it's been a solid season for the 14 of Tony Stewart, but his crew chief, Darian Grubb, says they still need to work on the little things, making little mistakes. Right now, tonight, they've made a little mistake. They had a lug nut problem they're trying to recover from, and now Tony Stewart is battling a loose race car. But they are working hard, and they are keeping on it, guys. Dave?
Yeah, the 21 of David Gilliland stayed out on the last round of caution, got the wave around, and as we said, has been running very good in a car that was not designed for him this week, but he jumped into it the last minute and has done a real formidable job of keeping it in contention. Alan?
All right, David, thanks. And while we updated you on some of the cars running in the lead lap, how about this race for the lead? Casey Kane in the 9, hanging on, but Harvick's digging.
Well, Harvick's been one of the most consistent out there tonight. He's been negotiating all the problems, the bumps, the slippery racetrack, and it looks like he's got himself back in the lead right now, guys.
Kevin Harvick is very hungry. He wants to get this race car to victory lane. He wants to be first tonight. And Casey Kane, he wants a chase spot solidified.
And just like last night, takes him a little while to get going, but once he gets up to speed, he's there.
98 laps to go. Harvick back out front.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Atlanta Motor Speedway is presented by Pennzoil Platinum Full Synthetic. Our ultimate clean, your ultimate feeling. And in part by Toyota, moving forward. AT&T, your world delivered. And New Degree Men B12 Special Edition.
Back on a beautiful night here in Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta Motor Speedway. Less than 95 laps to go. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series presented by Pennzoil. How appropriate it is presented by Pennzoil, because that's the guy who is leading right now. Kevin Harvick, after what has been a tumultuous year, now being shown as the leader, trying to get to victory lane for the first time in 95 races. Time now to check out our Aflac trivia question. The question is, over the last 6 fall Atlanta races, how many times has the Cup driver who led the most laps also won the race? Guys, you got a guess?
I'm going to say one. None. I'm going to say 1.
Your answer, it is, you're right, only one time.
Tony Stewart.
Tony Stewart back in October of 2006. Last year it was Matt Kenseth who led the most race laps here. And 2 years ago it was Martin Truex Jr. Neither one of them won the race.
We sure had a mixture of leaders tonight. I mean, it really hasn't been one guy dominating. It's, like we said, just that yo-yo effect Alan was talking about. You have cars up front for a while, and the next thing you know, they're falling out of the top 10, and new guys show up.
Tony Stewart, he had to start at the kind of the tail end of the lead lap cars because of that lug nut problem last time, but he's making his way back up.
Talk about how we've seen these guys, the cars come and go so much tonight. We've seen Jimmy Johnson spin out here, the reigning series champion. And you've seen all these guys complaining about what the car is doing.
And we're doing something wrong here. We're going to have to rethink, go back, because I'm terrible loose, but it's just not even the same race car.
He's not the first guy we've heard say that tonight.
No, and it's not the first time we've really heard that here. Goodyear has a real challenge in making a tire that withstand, on this race car, withstand the pressures of the banking of this racetrack. It sounds a lot like the last race that I drove here in 2008 with this car. It was really difficult. You really just never got a feel. You could try to tighten the car up, you make it worse, then you free it up and think, well, I'm helping it out some. But it's just you had to drive the car. I think Kyle Busch won that race, and that's what I'm seeing and hearing from a lot of these guys.
Well, let's poll our expert crew chiefs here and see how you would adjust to be able to fix this. Ray Evernham, you were calling the shots for Jeff Gordon for a number of years. What would you do?
Yeah, Doc, that's a voice I've heard on the radio a lot, and he's really great at giving good information. First thing I do is look back at the changes that I had made. You got to stop that car from sliding in the corner. He's got to be able to control it getting in. These things are so line sensitive. Probably some of his push in the middle is the fact that he can't turn the steering wheel getting in without spinning out. I would say that car's loose. The first thing I do is maybe look at doing a 75% change towards tightening up and maybe go to the front end, a little air pressure or something to help it turn. But probably the biggest reason he can't turn is because he's not turning getting in. He's sliding, actually turning to the right getting in the corner.
And sometimes, Ray, you know, a driver will get kind of overreact to a real slick racetrack, and I think they're the only ones that are out there struggling with this, and it makes you adjust, sometimes over-adjust the race car.
Yeah, you know, I absolutely look at those lap times and stuff. And then, Sandy, you know, sometimes you do have to look at that tire set. And boy, all we've done is change tires here. Let's not over-adjust when we put tires back on this thing. Is it going to go swing back the other way on us?
Jeff Gordon right now being shown back in 8th position. There are 23 cars on the lead lap. Now make that 22 because Tony Stewart has just been lapped by Kevin Harvick.
Yeah, you can see that lug nut miscue on pit road has really cost his 14 team now, falling off the lead lap. Still in that lucky dog position should we get a caution, but man, sure was costly for Tony.
Kevin Harvick, our leader. Casey Kane running in 2nd spot, and we told you at the beginning of the night that Juan Pablo Montoya had his very first ever NASCAR Sprint Cup Series top 10 finish at Atlanta, but he hasn't done really well since then. But that's changing tonight. Jamie.
Well, Doc, talk about a team that's out to prove something and prove that they belong in the chase. They unloaded this car exactly the way it is now. They tried a couple things in practice and said there was no need. We knew exactly what we needed. Tonight he's just been chasing loose, but the car is getting better. So, Brian, you see Brian Patty, the crew chief, he told me they love the fact that they're the underdogs. He said coming into this season, not one person picked us to be in the top 12, and we're going to prove them wrong.
Well, they have really been a solid team this year. Brian Patty's a great crew chief. I think he's done a lot for Montoya and his attitude and everything else. I mean, this whole team has been so focused on making this chase, and so far they're doing everything right.
This has been Montoya's favorite car, the one he led 116 laps at Indianapolis in prior to speeding on pit road when he could have won the Brickyard 400. And
and there he's in the wall, right when we're just giving him.
You might know we pat him on the back.
Everything right, and then they get up against the wall.
But he kept it out, and he's still a digging here. Montoya is still in 3rd position. Kevin Harvick is the leader here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. He had a very special moment at this track back in 2003. Back at Atlanta under caution, heavy contact just seconds ago. The 2 car of Kurt Busch into the concrete. Busch, who was 5th in the point standings and dominated a race here back in the spring, was being shown in the top 15 and now has had issues to bring out the yellow flag. The 43 of Reed Sorensen involved with Kurt Busch. There's a damage on Sorensen's Dodge.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Reed Sorensen was on the inside of Kurt Busch, and they got together coming out of turn 4 right here.
And you see Kurt Busch gets totally sideways, out of control.
Yeah.
And then that's when Reed Sorensen came to the scene. Really nothing Reed could do right there.
Yeah, he was getting ready to spin out till Reed Sorensen got there. We had quite a few laps on the tires there. These cars just continue to get loose and sideways for these drivers. It's unfortunate for Reed Sorensen, who's having a pretty good night, that he was just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Forward of the entire car.
Leaders on pit road. Let's go down to Dave.
Casey Kane had picked up 1 spot on that run. They're going the same direction they have been going for a slightly loose race car. Down on the track bar, down on the left rear wedge. That's
Mark Martin right there in the middle of your screen. They said they need to free it up just a little bit. They're going to take a half round of wedge out for Goodyear tires, and Mark Martin having a good night tonight, and he needs it. Jamie.
And for the first time, Kevin Harvick said he's just a tick loose. He said, just tighten me up. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment. They already did it. 4 tires and fuel, Shannon.
Denny Hamlin says he thinks they've gone a little bit far on the adjustment. It's a little tight. They're going to go up on the track bar, 4 tires and fuel.
Little issue on the left rear tire for Kevin Harvick will cost him the lead. In fact, he will lose 3 positions on pit road. Casey Kane gains a couple. Martin up 1 spot. Harvick, you see the loss. And what's going on in the 48 pit with Jimmy Johnson here?
Having to back into the pit stop.
Take it back into the garage.
Oh, no. They've broken something in the drivetrain, maybe. He's going back to the garage. Well, it looks like it's driving those.
Back there, change the axles, Joe.
Oh, one of the axles broke them after they let the car down.
That'll happen on this concrete when you let it down. You have to really be careful as a driver. You're trying to time that right when they drop the jack, but if you do it just almost, it sounds crazy, but if you do it perfectly, that's when that snaps that axle.
Those axles shouldn't take too long.
You can see the right rear axle is still intact. It's still driving the car, but the left rear is one that's obviously broken.
We've had a lot of our points, guys up in top of our points. Tony Stewart's having a tough night. Carl Edwards, Kurt Busch right there. He's back in the garage area.
Yeah, Kurt Busch back there trying to get this car repaired as he climbs out of his Dodge.
He's a little bit hot.
Guys, we're going to have from 5th all the way back through about 14th when we go to Richmond next week. Now, this is going to really be a nervous time for all of these guys. It looked like Carl Edwards and Kurt Busch were going to be okay, maybe even lock themselves in tonight. Now they're in big trouble.
Trouble for chase contenders here in the late laps. Back with more of the Pep Boys Auto 500 in just a moment. Under caution here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Now issues continuing for some of the bubble drivers, and you just saw Jimmy Johnson go back to the garage area. Is the 83 having the same issues with an axle?
Looks like they're changing the right side axle, trying to get this done on pit road. They're actually still showing the 83 car on the lead lap.
Johnson is in the chase. The 83 is not. Johnson back in the garage area trying to get this axle changed.
Now, this is kind of weird that two of the top running teams having problems here with the same exact thing. They got it fixed. It's spinning the wheel.
Yeah, and he's barely going to beat
He's going to stay on the lead lap.
Stay on the lead lap.
That's
Great
amazing.
Job.
That's amazing he did that.
That is unbelievable. Now, what are they actually doing? Let's take you down to our Craftsman Tech garage in Tim Brewer.
Jerry, what they're actually doing is pulling the axle cap off right here, folks. But when you insert the axle into the ratchet, you know, that's a good thing. But when you break the axle, what Chad's talking about, you actually have to fish this end out. So you may have to pull the other axle out the other side and literally take something and push the axle out to get the new axle inside.
Yeah, sometimes you can get lucky and pull the pieces out of there. We saw a magnet with the 48 team trying to get it out, and that may be what happened with the 83. They were lucky to get the pieces out and get a new axle in, but not so lucky with the 48.
Well, working on the 48 car, we saw Kurt Busch not happy at all when he climbed out of his 2-car a moment ago, and now Vince has caught up with him.
The winner here in March certainly had a handful here tonight, Kurt. What happened there?
I got a loose race car, kept getting looser. We just couldn't get the handle under the Miller Lite Dodge, so I was sideways. I guess Reed hit us. He had nowhere to go, I'm sure. Real hard hit. That was a bummer. So just trying to get a handle on it. We couldn't get a handle on it. So I felt like we were still on the spring tire, and everybody else had a good sticky tires today.
Kurt Busch, frustrating finish tonight.
This would be his second DNF of the year, and both of them coming in the last 3 races. He was involved in an accident, remember, at Michigan early on. Now here's the 48 car coming out of the garage, and they have done a great job to get this changed. And as you saw Tim Brewer said at our Craftsman Tech garage, they had to go on the opposite side and push the broken axle out.
There's the piece. You can see that's the end of the axle. It goes in the drive flange out there next to the wheel. You see just snap the end of it off, and Jimmy Johnson now going down the 3rd lap, making that change. It's really amazing that 83 car got out of there with that change of that axle and stayed on the lead lap. Good job by that team.
Yeah, we'll have to keep a watch on them and make sure they did get everything out of there, because that could eventually create another problem for them if they weren't able to do that.
Well, if you like what you're seeing tonight, folks, they got one more shot to get into chase, and it comes under the lights next Saturday night in Richmond, Virginia. It is the Chevy Rock and Roll 400 at Richmond. There have been 14 different winners in the last 15 Richmond fall races. Jimmy Johnson has won the last 2 in a row. Who will it be? Who will get in the chase? We will decide it all next Saturday night, 7 o'clock Eastern time on ABC.
I'll tell you what, the events of the night have made that even more interesting than what we thought it was going to be to start with.
Let's check in the Casey Kane pits. Dave.
And Doc, it's been kind of a yo-yo effect tonight. Casey's gone back. He's back up to the front again. Kenny, you guys are kind of chasing it. Do you feel like you have a handle on the car in these night conditions?
Well, Budweiser Dodge has been running pretty good all night, but you know, we're just a little bit loose on a long run. Hopefully we can get that figured out and get a little bit better, but we're still working on it. We made some adjustments there, so hopefully they'll work out.
They keep changing as the track keeps changing, guys.
There's the 48 car coming back on the pit road during the restart as they start on the left of your screen. Montoya and Kane. And we're being told that Jimmy Johnson doesn't think the axle is fixed in his car. We'll update you momentarily.
And this 9 and 42 have had a little bit of history this year of getting together. The last thing either one of them need to do, though, is get together tonight.
Yeah, it's been mostly the 9 getting into the 42 in those things, and Montoya was a little perturbed about that situation, but you can see they got a clean start there, and Casey Kane in the lead.
Look at Kyle Busch back here, guys. Been 3 wide, passing cars. There's Junior up against the wall.
Yeah, how about Matt Kenseth coming on the outside there? That's for the 4th spot. That's unbelievable.
I cannot believe what a job they've done tonight.
At the beginning of this race, no one would have given you a chance for Matt Kenseth to make the chase or get a top 25 finish when he was back in 31st position.
And the only reason he wasn't further back than 31st, the other guys behind him were a lap down, or he had been further back because he couldn't outrun anybody at that point in time. What a great job by these guys and Matt Kenseth.
Losing a spot now to Jeff Gordon on the inside. Gordon is there, and here comes Mark Martin on the inside of Kenseth.
Yeah, Matt still doesn't have the greatest car, but he's doing a tremendous job. And as usual, his pit crew's doing a fantastic job. Look making up 3 and 4 spots.
Look at the back of that car. Right? You can see the back bumper falling off of it. They've been taping it back on. They've smacked the right side of the car hard early in the race, and now just making a great recovery. Matt's still digging hard.
Here comes Denny Hamlin trying to get his way back up there. You see Mark gets on the outside who got loose there.
Yeah, Mark just got looks like he may have even gotten to the side of Denny Hamlin.
Let's update Kenseth Vince.
Well, one of the interesting things about this team is that they have undoubtedly been feeling the pressure of where they are positioned in the points race, 12th in the standings. But crew chief Drew Blickensderfer told me one of the things that's kept them calm and has reduced the tension is the even demeanor of Matt Kenseth. But I can tell you tonight, there have been a couple of times on the radio that demeanor wasn't so even. He has had an evil race car at times tonight, but they have continued to work on it. No one has gotten rattled in the seat or in the pit box, and this team has had a winning type effort tonight. Not a first place effort, but an effort that's going to be good enough as it goes now to keep them in position to make the chase, and that's huge considering the issues they've had.
No doubt about it, Vince. Matt Kenseth, Mr. Poise, Mr. Composure. He doesn't get rattled very easily, as evidenced by this performance tonight. There's the 18 car of Kyle Busch in 7th spot. Earnhardt Jr. is 8th. Rudeman back there in 9th. You see Kenseth above him there in 10th spot.
Look at Paul Menard, too. We've mentioned this already, but he had a problem on the start of the race and didn't take the green. Actually, he had to come off pit road to start at the tail end when they got the green. Doing a nice job.
Yeah, Robbie Gordon right there behind him has come from a lap down to just have a great run. Dave?
Yeah, I mean, Robbie Gordon was laps down and got the lucky dog on lap 105, and then the next 100 laps, he didn't lose that position. He's been banged up from a practice wreck in his off-road truck this week. He is now really loose, by the way, and as you see right there, as Joey Logano pressures him. He finished 6th in a race this weekend in his truck, and next weekend, though, he's going to go for that off-road truck championship in the SCORE International Series. David Gilliland is going to drive this car next week at Richmond, so that decision has been made. Gilliland, a part-timer in the 21 this week and in the 7 next week.
You see these guys battle, and right behind them, I'm going to give another call to Bobby Labonte in the 71 car. Just a tremendous job he's doing in this race car. He's in 15th spot, just showing what a great race driver he really is.
It was not until Tuesday afternoon this week that Bobby Labonte would know he would even have a car to drive here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Kevin Buckler, who owns that car, they have 10 total employees doing it with very little sponsorship.
Okay, right here is the sleeper of the race, guys. Montoya is really digging on the outside. He may have the best car right now when it counts towards the end of this thing.
Well, let's update the 48 situation.
The 48 thought they fixed everything. They did fix the axle. They thought they broke the locker. They came in. They are changing the gears underneath the car right now. Chad Canal's crew chief said, guys, this could put the nail in the coffin. Take your time. Let's get it fixed. Nobody get hurt. They have nothing to lose, Doc. They are locked in the chase.
Yeah, sometimes when you break an axle, if it breaks up towards the gear, up in the gear mechanism in the center, if it breaks up in there, pieces will get in there and actually tear up the locker, so they'll just have to change the whole assembly.
Yeah, but I tell you what, we keep talking about these people locked in the chase, and it's not a big deal with Tony Stewart, some issues that they've had the last couple of weeks, and now this with Jimmy Johnson. These guys don't want to go into the chase with things like this happening. You'd like to think that you're getting yourself well prepared and ready for that 10-race stretch, and this could put a little bit of a situation where you have a little bit of doubt about that at times.
Teammates running side by side here. Mark Martin on the inside, Jeff Gordon cruising by up high, and that is for the 4th position.
Yeah, Mark's making up some spots here. He just passed Denny Hamlin a couple of minutes ago, a couple of laps ago.
He's been flying under the radar kind of all night long, but he's been right there.
Yeah, he makes his run, and seems like, though, he's kind of gotten off like everybody else. As he changed a set of tires or made a small adjustment, then it got him off a little bit. But here he's got himself back up there in the 5th spot.
The guy they're chasing is Casey Kane up front in the Dodge. Kane, a former winner here back in 2006. Trying to hold on and break the jinx of having very poor finishes here in the fall race. And we're watching to see if Mark Martin can make this pass inside of his teammate. Martin coming off that 2nd place finish in Bristol, Tennessee. And at the race we're in right now, Martin would actually move up at least 1 position in the point standings. 100 miles to go here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. 62 laps. They're chasing Casey Kane, the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Atlanta, presented by Pennzoil. NASCAR Sprint Cup Series action. Oh, trouble. Logano sideways. Clint Boyer barely getting by.
Get rolling here. Get rolling.
Looks like he might have a right rear tire down that could have caused that spin.
Looks like the right front's down too.
Got flat tires, 5 rears.
Could have slid the flat spots in the tires and blew them out after he started spinning.
Now this will put Tony Stewart now back on the lead lap. He was the first car a lap down. How ironic that the 20 car, the car he formerly drove, is what gives him a break here in Atlanta. And there's Tony, current points leader and 2-time champ. He will get the lucky dog free pass, being the first car a lap down, and there he'll be able to go back. And that will now put us with 19 cars on the lead lap.
Yeah, and Andy, this is going to put them into a window where they can make it the rest of the way.
Yeah, this is just right at the edge of the window of making it on fuel. I don't think there's a lot of drivers that want to try to make a 55-lap run to the finish, though, on these tires. Man, Boyer just snuck by.
Wow.
Just barely touches the wall there. See Clint Boyer. You have to make a decision right there as a driver. Clint decided to go to the outside. Wow.
And he's sideways.
What a great job.
That was.
Man.
A former dirt track racer doing his best there to hang on to that car sideways.
He was up on the cushion right here sideways.
Yeah, he had his eyes closed about right there when he saw that 20 coming up there.
8th caution flag tonight. And now, as you guys mentioned, they would be in a fuel window, although these guys don't want to think about having to go this far.
Yeah, it's just tough. These tires get so slick at the end of the runs. They're ready for new tires now, though. Pit road is open.
Casey Kane will lead him down. Kane and Montoya, Harvick, Martin, and Rudem in the top 5. Dave.
And just in case they go to the end of the race, Casey wants this car just a little bit tighter. They're going to take air pressure pressure out of the right rear. They added down on the track bar at the very end, 4 tires and fuel. Vince?
Mark Martin's car is close. It's just a little bit tight. He said don't go too small or too strong on the adjustment, so they're going to make a real small wedge adjustment. He said, I just want this thing to end. Jamie?
And the ratchet goes in the rear window for the 42. Apparently having contact with the wall has made him faster. He's been on it. 4 tires, Sunoco fuel, Shannon.
Well, the last adjustment for Denny Hamlin was up on the track bar. They did not like that. They're going to go back down on the track bar and also make an air pressure adjustment. 4 tires for the 11.
Scramble off of pit road. You see Montoya losing a couple of positions and David Strimmy up 3 spots. Both Martin and Harvick up a position, and Casey Kane holds on to the lead. Now,
How about Bobby Labonte up 3 spots too, in 10th spot?
Isn't it amazing? And Jimmy Johnson, by the way, back out on the racetrack. There's the 48 car going back out. So the reigning champ back on the racetrack. We've got 20 cars on the lead lap under caution for the 8th time tonight. Just 54 laps remaining here in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Atlanta, presented by Pennzoil. First nighttime race at Atlanta Motor Speedway here in Hampton, Georgia. Under the caution for the 8th time tonight, the spin by the 20 car, Joey Logano. And it is Casey Kane trying to pick up his 2nd win of 2009 after winning out at Infineon on the road course earlier in the year. Kevin Harvick in 2nd spot, Mark Martin 3rd, Montoya 4th, Denny Hamlin 5th. And what about the 71 car, guys? Bobby Labonte, his guys getting it done. He is 10th coming off pit road.
Man, that's a good job for that team to beat a lot of good cars off pit road and gain 3 spots. It's an amazing run for Bobby Labonte tonight.
It really is. He's done a fantastic job. You know, sometimes when things are going well out on the racetrack too, the pit crew gets pumped up and really does a great job. So really happy for Bobby Labonte.
The color scheme on that car, the black and red, is because the principals of his sponsor are huge University of Georgia Bulldog fans. And they said that car can't run on when Georgia has a home game on a weekend. Georgia played away at Oklahoma State, unfortunately got beat. But those folks are here watching their car have maybe the best run of the year. Pace car getting ready to pull away, and that is the telemetry on our leader, Casey Kane, as we will listen in and go full throttle with the Gree V12.
Moving up there if you want, whatever that car is stopped up top. All righty. Okay, pace car's off. Coming on down, be ready. Back here, he just got us off. We'll try to hang on to the back. Ready. Green flag, green flag. Green flag, green flag. Still inside the 29. Coming fast, still inside the 29. Clear. Still down there. Outside. Coming with a run there, inside the 98. That's your car, the 42. Clear behind him. Still on it. Plan there, but he didn't really hustle either. Still racing you. Still racing. Still racing. Clear the 98. Clear by half. Clear. 11 will be clear. If you see the 5, just save it. Looking outside. 71. Outside. Also working the top part. Coming. Clear.
Great racing all around the racetrack, and there's Bobby Labonte embroiled in a battle. Oh, David Strimmy almost gets him that time.
Both these guys having great runs, but they don't need to end them here with 50 laps to go.
Yeah, we're not there yet, guys. There goes Montoya now going for the lead.
Montoya was running down Casey Kane when the caution came out, and now he has caught him.
I love this racetrack.
Oh, yeah, nothing like it. Yeah.
Best on-track racing, really, all the way around we've seen all night. I mean, all year tonight.
Juan Pablo Montoya makes it the 29th lead change here at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Yeah, they look up. They see Denny Hamlin coming, too, there. He's going to try to get to the outside of Casey Kane for that 2nd spot.
There's Chip Ganassi watching his drivers. Watch Juan Pablo Montoya trying to get in the first chase.
Don't slide the tires, pulling away bit by bit.
3rd full year as a NASCAR Sprint Cup driver, coming over from Formula One after a successful open-wheel career in kart and IndyCar.
Yeah, right now, Juan Pablo would be looking at that 5th spot in the chase standings if this was to continue for these next 49 laps.
There is Kyle Busch and Dale Earnhardt Jr. as they battle for position back in 8th and 9th.
See Junior trying to get a run back forward again. He had moved up into the top 5 earlier, but hasn't been able to get his car any further than that here recently.
And the guy that Kyle Busch has to pass to get in the top 12 in the standings is the guy he's got to pass on the racetrack, the 17 car there of Matt Kenseth.
Yeah, we've talked about what a great job those guys have done. You see Junior slide up in front of Kyle Busch there.
Tell you somebody else making a big move. David Rudeman now is moving into the 4th spot. Yeah, it seems like every restart is a different complexion of the race. You know, somebody else is jumping up in the top, somebody else is falling out, and we see Rudeman now moving into this top 5.
Yeah, he's just been steady all night long, making his way up there. You know, he made his way up in the top 15, then he got in the top 10, kind of hung there between 5th and 10th for a lot of the time, and now he's up into the top 5. What a great job.
Remember, it was at Charlotte Motor Speedway where Rudeman was able to pick up the win back in May. Although the rains came, he had a good run and was in position to be able to capitalize on the shortened event.
Yeah, there's Mark Martin right behind him in that 5th spot, also having a good run. Kevin Harvick has fallen back there to 6th.
Yeah, check out this 83 car Vickers after changing that axle and staying on the lead lap. I'm telling you, that's a championship quality team that can do that and stay in contention.
Yeah, that's going to be the move of the night, to be able to change an axle on pit road and not lose a lap on a 1.5 mile racetrack.
Yeah, that could have been devastating to their chances of making this chase, because even going a lap down, it basically puts them out of that.
There's the 16. It's been a bit of a struggle tonight for Greg Biffle. Dave.
And Doc, they're looking as good as they have. He restarted in 11th, lost a couple of spots on the get-go, but he had picked them up on pit road. That's where they've been gaining. They finally, hang on, Greg, they finally gotten a handle on that loose race car. It was much better on the last run. He took just a little bit more wedge to try to keep it from being too loose. I'd say that's right on the edge.
Indeed, right on the edge, and now Biffle being shown in the 13th position in spite of all the issues they've had tonight, that possibly getting a chance at a top 10 finish.
Yeah, they've gotten the free pass. They were a lap down at one time, got the free pass to get back on the lead lap, and now they're making the most of that also.
Great racing at Atlanta Motor Speedway under the lights. It is the next to the last race to be able to get in the chase. It's the race of the chase, and right now it is Juan Pablo Montoya who has pulled away to almost a 1-second lead over Casey Kane. Montoya trying to get in his very first chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Jamie.
And I think owner Chip Ganassi is a little bit superstitious. You don't see him show up in the pit box too often. He was in the pit at Indy when they were leading as well, so he's very serious right now. As you mentioned, this would be the first time ever making the chase for Chip Ganassi. As for the car right now, the team agreed it has gotten faster since the contact with the wall. And bad news for some of the other guys in the pack, they are good on fuel till the end.
David Rudeman continuing to run awfully well. Now in 3rd position in front of Denny Hamlin.
And he's got that Toyota in the wind right now.
Nice time of the race to have it hooked up right at the end when the pay window's getting ready to open.
Yeah, unless we have a caution, these guys won't hit pit road again. So if you've got your car good right now, it could pay big dividends.
And both these guys moving in now on that 9 car of Casey Kane for 2nd spot. Battle for 12th position. David Stremme trying to hang on to it. Greg Biffle wants to take it away.
How about Robbie Gordon up there rim riding too?
Yeah, he's done a nice job all night of getting this car back. Here's another car that was a lap down at one time. Got the free pass and is making the most of that.
Talked about guys driving injured. Robbie Gordon rolled over his off-road truck early in the week and said he couldn't even move his head or his shoulders. He was so bruised up, had a black eye, had a lot of pulled muscles in his upper back, and yet runs the off-road event and comes here to Atlanta and is now having maybe one of the better runs he has had all year long.
Yeah, and this is a very physically demanding racetrack too, along with the 500 miles that you have to run. So really nice job for Robbie. You see him closing in on David Stremme for that 12th spot.
There's Bobby Labonte still digging on the bottom too, now trying to make up a spot on Biffle.
See, Brian Vickers, I can tell you, he's moved back into the top 10 in that 10th spot. He just passed Kyle Busch for that and put Kyle Busch in the 11th spot.
Last week at Bristol, Tennessee, or 2 weeks ago at Bristol, Tennessee, 13 of the top 15 positions and points changed after that 500-lap race. We're going to have that many, if not more, here tonight at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And what a finale it's going to be in determining who gets in the chase next Saturday night in Richmond. Less than 40 laps to go. It is Juan Pablo Montoya, the leader, Casey Kane second, David Rudiman, Denny Hamlin, and Kevin Harvick in the top 5.
Doesn't seem like that long ago when Kevin Harvick was just dominating the race, and now he's back. He's still running well. I mean, he's right here working on the back bumper of Denny Hamlin.
But Montoya's moved out to almost a 2-second lead now. We have only 38 laps to go. If you're leading the race, that's a long 38 laps.
It could be a long 38. And still a lot can happen between now and the end of the race.
Yeah, what's that? Bestwick always tells us.
That's right. It's not over till it's over. I've heard how many times I heard that from him.
But it's true.
It is true, and it's just these things. Anything can happen.
There's Harvick.
Especially tonight.
Yeah, especially tonight. Looks like Harvick's getting his car coming back to him. Noticed on that restart, he looked like he was extremely loose in trying to race around the other cars. So maybe his car's tightening up a little bit for him as he tries to move in on Denny Hamlin for that 4th spot.
That's kind of the way his car was last night in the nationwide race. He would start out really, really loose, but boy, when that thing came in, nobody could touch him.
If we stay green, this is going to be very interesting who can hang on to these race cars here, these final laps here, final 37 laps.
Yeah, most everybody should be able to go on fuel, but boy, they'll be thin on rubber.
Let's take you up to speed on the leader, starting with Juan Pablo Montoya. Here's Jamie.
Well, Doc, looking at the lap times, he is the fastest car on the racetrack right now. As I reported a few moments ago, he is good to go on fuel, and this car has just set the pace now. He got faster after contact with the wall that came in last pit stop. He made a small track bar adjustment and 4 tires, and he's setting sail. It's been 80 races since his last win.
Jamie, Casey Kane trying to catch him. Talked to crew chief Kenny Francis this morning about fuel mileage. He says, I know I don't have the best fuel mileage package for this race, but I'm okay with it. And they are okay to the end. Jamie?
And David Rudiman, he has been fighting this car all night. The 00 was too tight. Last pit stop, they said the spring rate on the right rear was too high. They put a new set of tires on there, and boom, the car has come to life. They are good to go till the end, Shannon.
Denny Hamlin has also had his handful with this car. They've gone down on the track bar in the most recent pit stop. The car looks good right now, guys. Because he led a lap, Denny Hamlin will clinch a championship, or a chase berth, if he finishes 4th or better in this race. And right now, he's just dropped to 5th. This team felt very optimistic about their chase chances. They said they've been working toward the chase for the past 8 weeks. Jamie?
And for just the second time this year, Kevin Harvick was leading laps early on, but the car has since then fallen off. You can see him twitch a little bit. He's a little bit loose, but his temperature gauge is what they're watching. It's pegged. He's pushing water out of the radiator overflow right now. He's good to go on fuel, but not so sure about the temperature, guys.
That might be one of the things he's been struggling with here lately.
See Mark Martin back there in the 5 car, being shown back in the 6th position. Mark would actually gain a spot in the points leaving here if he were to finish exactly where he is. And the 18 car, Kyle Busch, just scraped the wall a moment ago.
Yeah, he's been falling backwards here. He's continuing to struggle with the handling of this race car. Dave?
I'm telling you, as Strummy looks to the inside now to try to get that position from Kyle, he said, you guys just killed the front end with that last adjustment. It was just track bar and wedge, but the front end will not turn for Kyle. He's dropped back to 12th and now 13th possibly after restarting 8th.
And in the point situation, Dave, he's now back to 14th in the point standings, 58 points back, which is what he didn't want to hear, which means that he may have to go to Richmond and do anything and everything he can do to try to gain as many points as possible.
Yeah, and he may can go there and win the race, and that's still not be enough. Right. Yeah, that's the position they're putting themselves in.
And the guy in front of Kyle Busch in the point standings right now is Brian Vickers, and he is moving in now on the 24 car of Jeff Gordon. That would be for the 9th spot.
Well, that'd be another valuable 4 points if he's able to get that spot away from Jeff Gordon in these next 31 laps.
So Brian Vickers hasn't backed into it. If he makes the chase this year, he will have definitely earned it. 6 poles on the year, a series leading 6 poles. The top 10 finishes, 5 of the last 7 races. The win at Michigan. Should have had a better finish than he had 2 weeks ago at Bristol. Had issues late in the race.
Yeah, he knows he needs, even though this is a great run, a top 10 would be a good run. He needs something better tonight and next week if he's going to make the chase. He knows he needs top 5 finishes here tonight and next week.
Yeah, if he goes on and whatever happens, he's going to, even tonight, getting back to the top 10, he has to give that pit crew a nice assist on the job that they did in getting that axle changed for him.
They're keeping him alive, that's for sure.
So he gets a good run off of turn 4. Looks like you're going to try to get to the outside of Jeff Gordon right here.
Montoya's still leading the race, but he's lost a little bit of that 2-second lead he had. It's down to 1.5 seconds now over Casey Kane.
Yeah, Kane's been beating him between a tenth and a half the last few laps. So Casey might have been the one holding something back, knowing that his car's been going to that loose side.
But look right
who's
here.
Coming now.
Kevin Harvick's got his car dialed in now.
I think this is the guy that has everything going his way. He looks to be by far the fastest car on the track by quite a bit.
Kevin Harvick had led 5 times for 56 laps earlier tonight and has now moved around Casey Kane to take the 2nd spot away.
He just beat the leader by about 7/10 on that last lap. Here comes Mark Martin trying to take the 5th spot away from Denny Hamlin. Looks like he'll do that.
There must be a chime or a bell in those cars with 30 laps to go that goes off. Okay, guys, time to get it done.
Yeah, you're so excited you're getting to the end of it as a driver. You're like, wow, finally we're going to get there. I'm going to try to go a little faster and see if we can make this happen.
Robbie Gordon up on the outside of the 16. That's for position. That's for 11th spot.
Yeah, it's nice to see some of these guys like Robbie Gordon and some others that haven't had the best of years having some nice runs here tonight.
Robbie's best finish on the year was 3rd at Charlotte back in May. Now that was in the rain shortened race, but he did run in the top 10 for much of the night. Well, to get a little different perspective, let's go down to our pit studio for Alan Bestwick and the guys. Hey, B?
Doc, you guys talking about my little mantra, it's never over till it's over. Our champion crew chief down here, Ray Evernham, with his mountains of historical data that these crew chiefs and engineers bring to races. What are the chances, based on history? We're going to see another yellow before this thing's done.
Well, you know what they say. It ain't over till it's over, and it is what it is, Alan. It is what it is. It says about a 70% chance we could see another caution around lap 310.
So if we see another caution then in these last 25 laps, and by the way, 310, 10 laps from now, that really puts the pressure on these pit crews, particularly Montoya's.
Oh, absolutely. They got to kick down pit road. They got to get 4 tires on these cars. They got to do it efficiently. They got to do it fast and efficient and get back out there. They can't lose what they've been gaining all day long, especially from Montoya. This team has been on fire of late.
Montoya has checked out, guys. I mean, he is really setting a torrid pace. I know that Casey Kane and Kevin Harvick are running some quicker lap times every once in a while, but he just picks the throttle right back up and pulls out. David Ruderman, great run for him, and I cannot say enough about Matt Kenseth. This is incredible what he's done tonight.
So 24 laps to go, and when the checkered flag is waved tonight in Atlanta, a very special Sports Center coming up next here on ESPN. Sports Center celebrating its 30th anniversary. Chris Berman, Bob Lee, John Saunders return to the show. They'll show us some signature sports moments from over the years. A star falls at the U.S. Open as they cover some of today's top sports stories. And Michael Jordan in his own words. That's Sports Center's 30th anniversary celebration coming up next when we're done with NASCAR here in Atlanta. Doc, DJ, and Andy get a little hot up front.
Indeed it is. Kevin Harvick now moving in on Montoya. As Montoya running the high line, Harvick getting down on the bottom of the racetrack. And there's the margin right now, 0.7 of a second.
Yeah, this is not even a contest here right now.
Now, if this thing goes green, Kevin Harvick's going to drive off in the sunset.
Yeah.
Even though it already set.
Yeah, his car's not that good. He's just hoping that he doesn't see another caution to give these guys an opportunity to get fresh tires, because that's not the best scenario for his race car. But if it stays green, he's got him whipped. As long as he doesn't have any problems.
Montoya will come off the corner there and lead that time by, but Harvick is now right on the deck.
Yeah, Kevin knows he's got a better car right now at this point, and he's not going to push the issue. He's just going to let it come to him. It's a good feeling when you've got a car and you've run the leader down like this, and you know it's just a matter of time till you're going to drive by.
Yeah, you just have to still be patient in this situation, knowing the situation of the race. You still have 20 laps to go. Just not try to press the issue as to when you do finally make that pass, pulling up in front of the. You'll see now he's been able to clear that. Montoya's not going to press the issue too much either, because he's accomplished as much as he wants to win. It's really about him solidifying himself into the chase.
And we know we've got a 70% chance of having a caution here in the next few laps. So he might get another shot at it.
It is hard to believe that Kevin Harvick had only led one race all year long. That was for 9 laps at Las Vegas prior to tonight.
If he can lead 11 more laps tonight, he'll lead the most laps here. Martin Truex still the guy that's led the most laps. Seems like forever ago that he was the guy that was out front and man to beat. Now a lap down in 24th spot, Martin Truex is.
Kevin Harvick's last win 95 races ago, back in the season opener in 2007, the Daytona 500.
Here we're riding with David Reagan, who has had a tough night. He's got caught speeding on pit road, had to make a pass-through penalty there. But moments ago, he had a little action on the racetrack, too. Watch him as he comes off the corner here. Watch this car get sideways, guys.
Whoa.
Wow. I mean,
look at those black marks. He laid black marks all over down.
You don't save that too many times. That's just a tremendous job by this young man. Get on board. Now, he's thinking right there that, wow, I might have just messed up and hit the inside wall. We see it with these guys. I think Ray brought it up earlier. He's able to. These guys are able to save these cars, and partly because of the wing that's on the back. I think that maybe that creates some of the problem in them getting them in that situation, and then it helps save them.
That might have been the caution flag that Ray was referring to, which didn't happen because of a great save by David Reagan.
Well, Ray still has 3 more laps for that to come out, so we'll see.
There's Harvick moving in behind the 6 car. Harvick the leader, Montoya in second, Casey Kane is third, so it's 2 Chevys, a Dodge. Then David Rudiman having a great night on his Toyota. Mark Martin back in 5th spot. Denny Hamlin is 6th, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. back in 7th.
Look who's getting lapped.
Kyle Busch getting lapped right here by Kevin Harvick. Not the night he was looking for.
No. Now I know Ray's sitting down there saying his window is the last 15 laps of this race. There's a 70% chance of a caution coming out. Is that right, Ray?
Well, I don't know. On the paperwork, it said right around 310. It said 70. Yeah.
Don't you love it when a plan comes together, Ray?
How about that? Hey, man.
Hey, where are you getting your info here, Ray?
Andy, if we'd have had this kind of information when we were crew chiefs, man, we'd have won 10 championships.
We'd have been dangerous.
That's great.
Ray, you got to give me a high five on that one, buddy.
Yeah, I'll applaud you there, Ray. That's pretty sweet, buddy.
I'm going to get Ray to pick some lottery numbers for me.
No kidding. Well, not what Kevin Harvick wanted to see, though.
No, that was his teammate that brought it out, too.
Yeah.
There's the 33.
And the 18 car, Kyle Busch, will get the free pass. He'll be able to get back on the lead lap. But caution for the nighttime tonight, and now Kevin Harvick will have to hold off the challenges of Montoya and company.
Well, we really don't know who's going to be the challenger. It's been different every restart.
On it, bud.
But you know somebody's going to be a challenger here.
Show you what happened to bring out the caution flag right side there. Oh my goodness,
Wow.
There's Bowyer sideways.
Digs up a little bit of that grass.
We see that more here on cars exiting onto the straightaway, off the corner, off the banking, is spinning out.
It's Gil Martin, the crew chief, on Kevin Harvick's car. Like, I cannot believe that just came out.
And of all things, our teammate.
And you saw Delana Harvick there on the left and on the right. That's Kevin's wife. Just put her chin down on her chest and couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I know they want to win, but they have to really be pleased with the progress that they've made. And talking to Richard Childress today, he was pleased. He thought they'd come a long way. And Kevin Harvick the other day, I was talking with him, and he just said, you know, we've run a lot better, but he said, I've just been in the wrong place at the wrong time so many times, getting in accidents that weren't of their making. So I think tonight's showing just how far they have come, even though the other cars of Richard Childress stable, they have struggled here.
Richard told us they have been burning the midnight oil 24/7 to be able to get more competitive over there.
Well, they may not take the trophy away tonight, but they have definitely made big gains, and they know that they can win. They've got the winning car. The situation may not work out for them here, and it might. I mean, this is going to be a short run, and it hasn't been the strong suit for the 29, but they might make some changes with these tires and get him pumped up and get him ready to go for a short run.
And you know how proud that organization is, and for all 3 of their cars, now all 4 of their cars, to miss the chase here in 2009 has to hurt.
Yeah, that's no fun, but we'll focus on this one tonight.
Yeah.
See if we can get one.
What they got to do first and foremost is get him out first here, so the pit crew has to do their job.
15 to go. Let's go down to Dave in the 9 pit.
Casey Kane pits from 3rd, looking for a way to get back up front. They picked up positions on pit road all night. Maybe that's a way. No changes to the car, air pressure or chassis. Vince?
Mark Martin comes to the pit box running 5th. They had an idea tonight to just be smart, take care of the car, and have good stops. Check, and check. 4 tires, no changes. Jamie?
Who has the fastest pit crew? Let's see. The 42 wants to free it up a bit. They actually made a slight track bar adjustment. 4 tires. He's still in the pit. Down and away, Shannon.
Jamie, they hooked Kevin Harvick up for the short run. A pound of air in all 4 tires. 4 tires and fuel for the 29.
A race off of pit road. You see Harvick there, and Rudeman up a spot. Casey Kane up a spot. Greg Biffle, his guy's getting it done. 4 tires, up 3 positions.
The Montoya lost 2 spots, but the good thing for him, I think, is he's going to start on the outside lane. That's where he wants to be on this restart. Still not a bad spot to be, 2nd row outside.
No, definitely not. Rudeman's car's been fast on fresh tires too, so we'll see what he can do from that 3rd.
Well, getting set for what may be the final restart on a shootout here for what could be a memorable night here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And Alan, coming up next, some special memory Sports Center style.
30th anniversary celebration coming up, Doc, as soon as we're done here in Atlanta. Let's go to Sports Center right now and hear about that from Bob Lee. Bob?
Alan, we are standing by when you're done, the 30th anniversary Sports Center.
30 years will flash by in 90 minutes.
I find that hard to believe. They drive faster than that. Back to Atlanta. See you after the race.
All right, Bob, thanks. We look forward to that right as soon as we're done with NASCAR from here in Atlanta. So, 14 laps to go. Harvick's team held the lead on the pit stops. Kane came out 2nd, Rudeman 3rd, Montoya 4th, Denny Hamlin 5th. As you heard the guys upstairs talk about, perhaps that order critical because of the way they line up from these restarts. Leader gets to choose inside lane or outside lane, but everybody else doesn't get a lane choice.
This is going to be very, very critical for Kevin Harvick. You're right. Nobody else gets a lane choice except for Kevin, the guy leading the race, starting outside or inside, but he's not been good on the starts. So this is going to be a critical run for him right now.
What lane you think he takes?
I think he takes the outside lane. I think that gives him, he likes that momentum, but I'm really surprised because I thought Montoya had a super car out front. I didn't think Harvick could run him down, but he did. We're going to see on this restart, though.
Yeah, but they went up a pound in the tires. That could get them going a little bit faster. Shannon got something for us down there?
Well, let's ask Gil Martin what he thinks. I know you guys made an air pressure adjustment. What do you think? You guys got enough to hold off the rest of the field and get this win?
Well, we pumped the tires up right here. We've had them pretty low all night long to have them good for the long run. So hopefully the short run, pumping the tires up will make that Shell Pennzoil Chevrolet just drive on. I mean, I think Kevin being in the front with this many laps to go in the race, he'll pump up a little bit too right here. So it'll be exciting.
He won the nationwide race, and as far as which line he's going to pick for the restart, Gil Martin said, I'm leaving that to my driver.
For Kevin Harvick, it is not about the chase. That is history. It is about this race and this place tonight. It is about redemption for the kind of year they've had, and a lot of hard work he could pay back for the teams that have tried to, for people at his shop that have tried to get him back in victory lane. There have been some incredibly close finishes over the years here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. How about 2000? Dale Earnhardt beating Bobby Labonte ever so close at this racetrack. What about 2001? Kevin Harvick and Jeff Gordon across the finish line, 6/1000th of a second on what was a memorable win for Kevin Harvick in only his 3rd start. And how about 2005? When Cousin Carl had to bump and grind by the 48 car of Jimmy Johnson to win by 28/1000ths of a second. And for the first time in a Cup car, Carl Edwards made the signature somersault as a winner here in NASCAR. And Lots of wave around cars here in the double file restart. As we're getting set, it'll be 11 laps to go when they come down for the green flag.
That moves Harvick up there to the front on the outside lane. You know, his car's been the best on the bottom, but that's kind of interesting that he does choose this outside on the restart.
Yeah, and I'd watch this 11 car, Denny Hamlin. He's been really good on these restarts, and his car's been fast, or able to get up to speed really fast, and it looks like he almost runs 1 and 2 wide open. Let's see what he can do.
On the previous restart, it was Montoya. He was a rocket. Remember, he went around everybody and pulled away for a while until Harvick finally ran him down. They spin the tires. Green flag in Atlanta. There comes Hamlin on the inside. Rudiman is there.
Yeah, Rudiman kind of blocked his progress for a second, but here comes Hamlin. Harvick got a nice job, but here comes Kasey Kahne back on the inside.
Off the turn, Kasey Kahne dead even with Kevin Harvick.
Kahne knows this is his chance. He's seen that the 29 hasn't been the best on these restarts. He knows this is his chance to win this race.
10 laps to go this time by, and Kasey Kahne is the leader.
I'm really surprised that Harvick picked that outside lane on that restart because his car's just not been that good on the outside.
Yeah, and I just think his car's just not that good. The setup that they have on fresh tires, that their strength has been not falling off like the other cars after about 15 laps.
See Montoya coming down the backstretch with a little bit of momentum.
83 car is digging Brian Bickers. He's in 8th position.
There's Mark Martin on the outside of him, trying to keep that spot. And then once again, there's Matt Kenseth. There comes Martin with a big run off of turn 4.
And that would be taking the 6th spot away from Kenseth.
Yeah, David Rudiman, he's gotten back around Denny Hamlin, and now Hamlin's trying to take that back from him.
You know, all the guys with short run cars are loving this restart here with just 9 laps to go.
Guys, again, the short runs, when you just got fresh tires, you don't got many laps to go, you just burn it off.
Use them up. Now's the time. Get your money's worth. And it looks like Kasey Kahne is flat getting his money's worth.
Well, we've seen him be fast on these short runs here, especially late in the race. He said his car gets looser the more that they run. Good thing about this, he doesn't have to run very long.
Yeah, that's why Gil Martin was so upset on that pit box when he saw that caution flag fly. They had this one in the bag until then.
See Montoya closing in on Harvick for that 2nd spot. Here's a battle with Greg Biffle and Jeff Gordon. That'll be for the 9th spot.
Well, another great comeback of the night with the 16 team for Biffle. He was out to lunch for about the first 170 laps.
Yeah, at one point in time they'd fallen out of the top 12 in the rundown. So nice job, nice recovery for them.
7 laps to go here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. First time they have run this race on Labor Day weekend under the lights.
7 more, bud, 7.
I'm telling you, Kasey Kahne's gone. 2.5 lead on Harvick.
Kahne the leader, Harvick, Montoya, Rudiman, and Hamlin the top 5. 6 to go.
Mark Martin just passed Denny Hamlin. Man, he made a great pass. He almost got into the wall coming out of 4.
3 wide right here. Look at Kyle Busch making the most of getting that lap back.
Tony Stewart has also salvaged a pretty good night. He is back there in the 12th position. There is Stewart. You see him in front of the 18 car of Kyle Busch.
Yeah, his teammate Ryan Newman has made something of this too. He had fallen back outside the top 20 at one point in time too. You see him battling right now, trying to get into the top 10.
Newman and Stewart are at 11th and 12th right now on the racetrack. Now less than 5 laps to go here at Atlanta. Kasey Kahne trying to pick up his 2nd win. In 2009, he snapped a 37 race winless streak by winning at Infineon Raceway on the road course in California, trying to get his first oval track win in over a year.
Kind of expected Montoya to make a bigger run at the end of this race. I thought he had the car to beat maybe in a short run. But Kasey Kahne's one that stepped up to it this time. And Harvick's having a good short run car here. They did a good job of pumping those tires up and keeping him in contention, at least in 2nd spot.
Yeah, but he probably wasn't the only one that pumped the tires up either, so that's what he had to think about. The other guys were making adjustments there too. It's just that unfortunately for Kevin tonight, these other guys have a better short run setup. There's Rudiman. He's still up in that 4th spot. Really good run for him. These guys still battling. You see Matt Kenseth trying to hang on. He's fallen outside of the top 10.
Well, he's just scratching and clawing for the best finish he can get tonight. Right now, he's showing 12th in points right at the cutoff.
Yeah, just 23 points ahead of Brian Vickers, who was ahead of him on the racetrack. Kansas now being shown in 11th position, Vickers up in 7th spot.
Yeah, but it could have been an even more devastating night with the way they started this out, with Matt getting into the wall early on. See Tony Stewart dive into the inside of Matt here, but they made a nice comeback. There's still this battle for second spot with Kevin Harvick and Montoya. Montoya now going to the high side. He's put just enough laps on. He thinks he can get up there maybe and make some time.
He's a little too little too late though. Casey Kane driving away.
When you get it, one more time, hit your marks.
Montoya driving the car he finished second with at Pocono, Pennsylvania. His best finish of the year. He's only top 5.
White flag for Casey Kane.
Straight away, 1 to go. 30.
Casey Kane said they were very frustrated about the disappointing finish at Bristol, Tennessee. They dropped from 8th to 11th in the point standings after finishing 28th at Bristol. They have finished outside the top 10 the last 3 races in a row. They were in jeopardy of maybe not making the chase. They came to Atlanta on a mission. And here, under the lights at Atlanta Motor Speedway on a Labor Day weekend, Casey Kane gets it done and goes to victory lane.
Great job. Be Harvick, Montoya, Rudeman, and Martin in the top 5.
Tell you what, Mark Martin needed a good solid top 5 run.
Yeah, and Kyle Busch fought back to get back to 13th. Brian Vickers at 7th. He'll go into Richmond just 20 points out of that 12th spot.
Unofficially, Casey would be credited with leading 6 times for 60 total laps. Let's go down and visit with the winning crew chief, Vince.
Kenny Francis, the crew chief for the 9. After the disastrous run at Bristol, when you drop down to 11th in points, how big is it to come back with a win tonight?
Well, it's a big win. You know, we thank the Lord for making us smart enough to make the right decisions. We had a good idea what we did wrong at Bristol and came back here and did a little bit different. And boy, it worked out. I'm so proud of the guys and proud of Keith Rod and our engineer, and our whole pit crew did a great job and the motor ran great. It's just a perfect night for us.
The 9 car with the huge win tonight, guys.
Casey's second win here at Atlanta Motor Speedway in just 12 starts. And it is a big night for him in terms of the point standings. Take a look at the points here, and you see that Denny Hamlin is now in the chase, locked in.
How about 5 spots up in points for Casey Kane?
And look at the bubble here, guys. We are going to have a lot of nail biters next week in Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah, you can see that right there. Brian Vickers, Kyle Busch are the ones outside looking in. Matt Kenseth, what a great job tonight to stay in the top 12.
And Carl Edwards is only 105 points ahead of that, and he's up in the 5th spot. So got a lot of guys that are going to have some sleepless nights this week thinking about next weekend at Richmond. Should be an exciting night.
If you like what you saw here, folks, there's still a lot more to come. We're going to be with you throughout the remainder of the year, all the way to the 2009 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series Championship. Next week on a Saturday night, under the lights at Richmond, Virginia. Then New Hampshire when the chase begins, up at the Monster Mile in Dover, Kansas, all the way down through the final event at Homestead Miami Speedway. Now let's go down to Jamie Little.
And for the second time this year, Kevin Harvick leads some laps. You guys just came to life tonight, Kevin. There's been a lot on your plate. You've been open about this organization. You guys came together this week. What does this run do for you?
This is big for everybody on our Shell Pennzoil Chevrolet. Just a good night for us. We had a great car on the long runs. Congratulations to Casey. They were a lot better on the short runs, and it just came down to a short run tonight.
All right, Kevin Harvick finishes second, his best finish of the year. Guys?
Well, they took a lot away from this race tonight, the Childress guys did, and that should help the whole organization.
Yeah, it really should. What an entertaining race all night long. Man, we had Passive for the lead, a lot of racing everywhere. I hope the fans enjoyed this as much as what we did up here in the booth.
Just didn't know who was going to show up at the end.
No,
it was Casey Kane in this 9 car.
That's right.
Well, I enjoyed getting NASCAR stock car racing back on a Labor Day weekend here in the South, where it was for so many years at Darlington, now coming to Atlanta. Great crowd, over 100,000 strong, and I'm sure they enjoyed it. Hope folks watching at home enjoyed it. I got to believe that guy driving that 9 car had the best time of the night. What about Juan Pablo Montoya? Jamie?
Well, you guys are talking about how much fun it was to watch. How much fun was that race battling with the 29?
It was awesome. You know, I thought I was going to get him with 2 to go, and I got freaking sideways down in 3. But, you know, everybody at Target Chevy did an amazing job today. I really want to thank everybody on Harganazzi, you know, ECR with the motors. Everybody's working so hard to make this happen. And, you know, with this 3rd place, it makes it a little bit closer to that chase.
And right now they sit 8th in the points, closer to making that first chase for Chip Ganassi Racing. Doc?
So he moves up a spot in the points, indeed, and he's
checking
going to
them out right
check
there.
out the final standings.
Yeah,
to
he wants to see those points. He knows what he's got, so he knows what he has to do next week at Richmond.
Yeah, exactly what he's been doing to get himself in this position.
They began the year with one focus, this team, talking about Juan Pablo Montoya, and that's to be able to be consistent enough to get in the chase for the first time. And they're 1 race away from doing it. Casey Kane has made it down there, so let's go down to our Degree V12 Victories Lane.
Casey Kane said he's going to come in here, go for it, get as many points as possible, and my friend, you did it.
We did, and we did right at the end. I mean, we had a unbelievable car throughout the race. I think Harvick was the best on the long run, and we got that restart with 11 to go, and I knew we had a shot. This pit crew did a phenomenal job all night. The entire Budweiser Dodge team did great. To see a crowd like this in Atlanta, it's been a long time since I've seen that, and it's pretty awesome to see the support on Labor Day of this crowd and put on a good show. The chase has been great. The fans are awesome. And this team, man, they're doing a great job. Stanley, Valvoline, Siemens, Best Buy, Remington, all the people that support us, man. It's all about making the chase, and I want to thank all of them for their support. But I knew Harvick and Montoya were going to be tough there at the end. We just got them there. We had a little bit better car for about 10 laps.
And you asked Kenny to keep the air pressures regular on your car. Don't pump them up. How did you know your car would be that good?
Because a couple restarts before that, I took off, and I knew I could go for about 15 laps. And that last one, I thought I'd go green the whole way, so I wanted to save. Didn't do me any good, but I tried that in it, and then the caution came out, and I knew we could go. And Rudeman gave me a push on the front stretch. That's terrible, and restarts going, up through the gears all night, and he kind of got me going. But man, I just thank all the fans, thanks Sprint for doing what they do, and say hi to my parents. They're a big part of this.
And your pit crew gave you that outside spot on the restart. How big was that?
Well, I was on the inside on the restart, and Rudeman gave me a little push forward, and actually I was thinking either way as long as I can get through the gears, and I hadn't all night. So when Rudeman gave me that push, I was like, man, I think I might have a shot here, and I cleared Harvick pretty quick, and we were gone.
Great run for Casey tonight in victory lane again at Atlanta.
So a huge night for Casey Kane, up 5 spots in the standings, trying to get into the championship, and it comes down to 1 race. Next Saturday night, the Chevy Rock and Roll 400, ABC, 7 Eastern from Richmond. Lots more post-race coverage. NASCAR Now post-race on ESPN2 Now, and the post-race press conferences, you can see them on ESPN News. And of course next, SportsCenter's 30th anniversary celebration. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. So long from Atlanta. SportsCenter is next.